Welcome back, everyone, to episode 24 of the They Fly Now Show podcast. This week, myself and Hereth are going to be joined by two amazing guests, and we are going to be talking about Star Wars canon. I know that's kind of a really broad topic, but we're just going to kind of cover everything canon, some of our favorite books, movies, TV shows, maybe a little bit of predictions we have going forward. So, yeah, let's just get right into it on They Fly Now.
They fly now! They fly now!
Over.
Welcome, Connor and Luke, to episode 24. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course. Luke, I know you've been on a few times, and Connor, first time on. Thank you again. Thanks for joining. So before we kind of get started here, where can we find you and all your amazing content?
Yeah, sure. Once again, thanks for having me, guys. My TikTok is where I make most of my content. You can see my name is just Jedi.Connor, 2 N's and an O. And the other social media that I'm starting to kind of make content on, that I'm planning to make content on, is YouTube, and it's the same thing, Jedi.Connor. Hopefully in the next week I'll be posting Book of Boba reviews and kind of just content that I like to expand upon that 2-3 minutes in a TikTok can't get to. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Yeah, it is hard to get so much stuff in 2-3 minute video. I know you reply to a lot of comments and stuff, so I can kind of further your thoughts, but it's still not the same as
Right.
an
Yeah.
8-minute YouTube video.
A little more nuance on when you have no time limit.
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt.
And Luke, same thing to you.
Hey guys. Again, thanks for having me on. You guys can catch me and Char J on the Pod Ones podcast. Right now we're doing Book of Boba watch-alongs. So we'll have one tomorrow, 1:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We are having Boryaka Wookie and Mara J. Skywalker on for the watch-alongs. Nice. So we have the open circle fleet. I think that's what they call themselves, the fleet of Anakin and Obi-Wan. So we'll be having them on, and then we'll do a little bit of review afterwards, and then you guys can always catch us on Thursday nights talking rewatch of Clone Wars. We start season 3 on Thursday, and then we'll do a roundtable with these guys. They fly now. It's a kind of a crossover collaboration. We do roundtables for the most recent episode of Book of Boba. So that's where you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and on TikTok, of course.
Awesome. Yeah, and those roundtables. Last week I couldn't make it because I just had stuff going on, but should be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it gets crazy. Last week we had Cat Lady JJ on, and it went wild. We'll just say that.
The one with the simping, as I like to call it.
Yes. A lot of simping for the Twi'lek in the Book of Boba. That was. We'll just keep it at that. Let's keep it at that.
And then real quick in the chat, we got Darth Man, Xantos, Jedi Smark, Saint Pat, Pods One Podcast, Kieran. Kieran says, "Gritty it up for the fans."
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Is he gonna...
Are we actually gonna get this?
No, don't. No. Steelers don't do that. They don't gritty.
Hit him with a gritty.
We don't gritty, but we.
You do TikToks. You do Corvette.
However much I did, I should make a deal with you guys. Every time the Steelers score a touchdown, which may be nothing tonight,
Maybe nothing tonight.
Which may be nothing. Hopefully not. Which gotta support the team, by the way. Ace Bronx, also thanks for joining.
Ace Bronx, always being loyal, like all our stuff.
Let's see. Xanta said Twi'leks, Tuskens, Gamorreans, nothing is off limits.
Yeah.
Something.
I honestly thought you were gonna say. I thought he was gonna say Tuskens, Twi'leks, and then crazy looking things. Oh my.
Tuskens, Gamorreans, oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Which, what the heck was that big beast thing?
I don't.
Champ.
Yeah. That's literally. It's a Machamp.
That's exactly what I was
There's,
thinking.
I don't think. Well, I haven't reached out to Pablo or Matt Martin to get an explanation, but I don't think we have a canon name for
Pablo
it yet.
Hidalgo?
Yeah.
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 You reach out to Pablo Hidalgo.
You have one on the line like that?
No,
I
Julia.
don't want-
well, on Twitter.
I know.
All you do is tweet at Pablo Hidalgo,
You'll
and
respond.
he'll respond to you.
Actually?
Come on.
Yeah. Julia used
Yeah.
to do it all the time.
Because when you were like,
Yeah,
hey,
Julia
ask
likes
Pablo
to
about
torment him and Matt Martin about her Corky Kenobi stuff, and they play along some of the times.
really?
That is awesome.
I didn't know you could just speed dial Pablo.
Yeah, because
I
I
have
got him
one
in my back
Pablo
pocket.
Hidalgo.
I mean, I work at Lucasfilm all of a sudden.
This is the only Pablo Hidalgo book I have, and it's not even really a book.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. It's just random facts about stuff.
Hey, if there's a random trivia tournament, you just pull that out and you're like, I can win.
Pretty sure he wrote
That's the
this
book
too.
right there.
He
Yeah,
wrote this too. I
that's-
think. I'm pretty sure. Am I right, Connor?
I think.
I
I
wanna
think well,
say
he probably has something to do with that book.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he was responsible for writing it, if I remember correctly. Here, hold on. Yeah, author Pablo Hidalgo.
Yeah.
Yep, he was the one that wrote it. But there was like two other people along with him though.
Okay.
But yeah,
Luke, Kieran says Luke got his frat boy hat on backwards again.
what up? What up?
Xantos, Machamp, or Goro. Luke works with Lucasfilm, makes sense.
Yeah. It's a
The
namesake.
sand creature looks like the
Yeah.
81 model of the Kraken from Clash of the Titans.
Yes. That's so. I was watching a clip from the Disney Plus, like when not a review of it, but there was like a shot of like this old 1960s Clash on Titan when it was made, and it looked exactly like that monster.
I wonder if that's where because that just, I don't know,
Just out of nowhere.
I know it's really just random, you just
Well, so did anybody else think? I know we're kind of starting off a little off topic, but
well,
like, did anybody think that was gonna be a Rancor, like at the beginning?
I thought it was gonna be a. Oh wait, no, I thought
Not
it was
at the
gonna
beginning,
be-
but like when he started you saw the claw. I was like, oh, is that a Rancor? And then it turned out to
don't
be
know.
that Pokemon. I was like, okay, good callback.
I'm surprised it wasn't a crate dragon.
That's what.
Yeah,
that's what you
that was
said
my
in the
That
next
would've-
guess
yeah.
too.
Carter, you
That
said that
would've
in the
been my
reaction.
first
Like, oh my
guess.
god, it's a crate dragon. Wait, is it a Rancor? And then we got really confused.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with us
You're
too.
like, it's a what? All right, let's get back on track. So before we start, I'm gonna ask everyone here, and then I'll answer too. What's your guys' favorite canon book? If it's too hard, just say top 3.
Connor, you go first.
Yeah,
All right, yeah. So I have a list pulled up. I keep track of my rankings for the
Read
books.
them down. Read them down.
So,
Let's just-
so this also includes the 4 Legends books that I've read, but
Okay.
number 1 is The Rising Storm. That was
Yes.
probably the most exciting book that I've read under the Star Wars. Just in Star Wars in general, it's probably the most exciting book that I read. I flew through it. Once you hit that halfway point in the book, it's a blur.
It just
It's-
it keeps
it's-
rolling.
well,
Keeps rolling.
And I think the best part about it is it's when you're reading the actual hard copy book, the chapters are like 4 pages.
Yeah.
So that's what it
It's
makes it seem like it goes by so quickly.
You're like another chapter, another chapter.
It's like one
another
point of view,
chapter.
the other point of view, and
Uh-huh.
it just keeps you
I know
just have
that-
to keep reading it.
There were a few times where I was like, I really want to know what Belle's doing, but I'm gonna have to read 4 more chapters to see
Yeah.
what Belle's doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Definitely right.
So I would say Rising Storm number 1. The second is the Revenge of the Sith novelization. I don't know if it's technically not canon
Yeah.
because there we are. But that is just a masterpiece in and of itself. I know Chaco always he's the one who introduced me to Star Wars books, and he's the one who recommended that as the first book that I read. So I was like, okay, I'm all in on this book, and it was fantastic. Then I have Darth Bane, the first Darth Bane book, which is incredible. Then I have A New Dawn, which is canon, where we get to see Hera and Kanan meet up. Kanan is my second favorite Jedi behind Luke Skywalker. So it was really cool to see how he went from like kind of this like
He's a frat boy.
drunkard. Yeah,
He's
like
a frat boy.
He's just, drunk.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's
Frat
just
boy.
always drunk, like just kind of floating along in life, and then he meets Hera, and then stuff
then
hits
it's like-
the fan real quick. So that was a really exciting book to read as well. And then number 3 is Into the Dark. I really love the like smaller scale High Republic books. Right after you read Light of the Jedi, you're like, okay, this is a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on here. But then when you read Into the Dark, it's like, okay, Claudia Gray does a great job of just like focusing in on characters, and that's why I love her writing.
Yeah. No, right after I finished reading Into the Dark, I was like, this is the Ghost Gru of the High Republic.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And Geode is, Geode.
Geode. Love it. Love it.
Gotta love Geode.
Mm-hmm.
No, those are some great books. I'm surprised A New Dawn was that high up.
Yeah, I think it's just because I love Canon.
Yeah,
so I'm a
same-
little bit
same here.
biased.
Mhm.
A little
But, yeah.
biased.
Yeah, no.
No, for sure. And Luke, same thing to you. Give us your top, whatever.
Dude, it's so hard.
It
It's
is.
so hard. Okay. So I've got a couple. If anybody, and this is for anybody in the chat, knows how to get a hardcover of this book, let me know. I love this stinking book. I love it so much. Everybody hates it. I understand the hate. I get it. It's slow at some points, but like Vader in this book is pure Vader, and I absolutely freaking love it. Number 2 is Rising Storm, because I mean, like, we all love to get our hearts broken, right? And that's like, until we read Fallen Star tomorrow, that's gonna be the book that absolutely destroyed my mentality.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah, until tomorrow, and then
Tomorrow.
it'll take a backseat.
Except Element 7 knows in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Embargo. Come on. And then I'd say Light of the Jedi, just because you get introduced to so many characters, it can be kind of overwhelming. Which, in my opinion, I wouldn't. If I'm starting somebody off on Star Wars books, I wouldn't start with Light of the Jedi, because you want to maybe get them into a era that they can kind of know, and like, especially if they have watched the movies, get them into like Leia, Princess of Alderaan, the Padme books, like
Lost Stars.
Lost Stars.
Stars.
Yes, Lost Stars. And like it just get them used to the world, and then maybe bring them into like a more complex, because there's a lot. Like, I mean, in the first chapter, you meet a whole ship of people,
Yeah.
and it's
And then they
so
get
hard to remember things. But like, I love the world building that the Light of the Jedi does.
Yeah. I think something with Light of the Jedi is like, for me, like books, like I want to pay attention to a lot of details early on, and with that book, I was like paying so much attention to like that crew of people, and then they just all die. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, and it's sudden. Like you build a connection with those characters, and then there's gone. I'm with Connor. Revenge of the Sith is one of my favorite movies, but like this book, I swear to God, if they ever like canonize this book, it would be insane. Just the small little snippets of stuff that you see, like the dialogue's 10 times better in this book than it is in the movie. Like, I wish they would just take the book, made the script from this book, and threw it on the screen. Because I mean, you get so much inner thoughts from all of the characters. You get to hear points of view from Obi-Wan that in certain situations that you don't get to. Like, you want to pick their brain. Like, what's Obi-Wan thinking in this situation? What's Anakin thinking in this situation? What's Padme thinking in this situation? Like, there's scenes in this book that like make that movie like a little less for me, just because this book is so damn good. It is.
Right.
It's just amazing.
And then there's always the scene of Obi-Wan carrying Yoda.
Yes! Oh God, yes. Yeah, that's see, it's just like stuff like that you miss in that movie, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then I have to go Master and Apprentice.
Oh.
I love the I love the Qui-Gon. I love the Qui-Gon Obi-Wan perspective because you don't get to see that much in the prequels because it's like he's there for like 2.5 hours and then he's gone.
I have 50 pages left.
Dude,
No
it's
spoilers.
so
No ending.
good.
If it's in the 50 pages left, don't
no,
say it.
no. No, I'm not. Well, so some of these characters that are based in this book are based on the Jedi Apprentice books and some of the old legend books that we got with Qui-Gon. Well, in Xanatos, so Xanatos's name is actually from Qui-Gon Jinn's first or second apprentice in Legends.
Oh, really?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that Xanatos, shout out to Xanatos. Go follow him. He's awesome.
If you aren't following, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? But I mean, and another honorable mention is Plagueis.
Oh,
Plagueis, my God, like
Pretty
that.
good.
Like yes, it's regulation. Yes, it's like build up, but like it's everything that happens up to that point in Phantom Menace. Like you get to see like yes, it's not like pretty much if it were canonized now it'd be torn apart because there's been stuff done to it. But like Plagueis taking over the banking plan, like just all of those, just all of that stuff is just fascinating to me. So I'd say like Plagueis is another good one, especially if you're like wanting to get into more of like the dark side stuff. Definitely Bane, obviously, which I haven't really touched upon because I'm not a Legends person. I'm more of a canon guy. But like Plagueis for sure is just amazing.
Yeah. What I would say for that is I also am like a canon guy. I've only read like the Bane trilogy and Plagueis. But the good thing about the Bane trilogy is it's like really removed, like it's Old Republic. So it doesn't feel like when you're reading it, it's like, oh well, this is a Legends book. It's just like, oh, this happened so long ago.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take you out of it. So that's what I would say.
No, yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right on that. For sure, Connor.
Yeah, and let's catch up with the chat a little bit since talk about everything. Jedi says that he struggles with Light of the Jedi. Understandable. That first act will throw everything at you at once.
You gotta like just
you gotta really pay attention. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like if you read if you listen to the audiobook and you read the book at the same time, I think that helps a whole lot. That's what I do anyway. Except for tomorrow, I won't get my copy until 4 p.m. But I'm just gonna catch up to where I'm at in the audiobooks. So, because
we'll get into that in a little bit.
My
but no,
pushed back to Thursday.
I'm telling you, just go out and just grab it from somewhere. I'm telling you, just gotta keep going. Cause I'm just gonna return my Barnes and Noble because I pre-ordered on Barnes and Nobles. But while I was working, I was literally like, it's right here. I'm just gonna pick it up tomorrow. Let's see what else in the chat. Chris, what's up?
Okay. How is this?
looks like
Chris says I missed the Jedi Apprentice books.
they're really, really good.
Leox Gassi is the Captain Ron of Star Wars.
I feel that to my core.
Yeah. Hereth, what are your favorite canon books?
I would say my top three, because obviously I can't pick a favorite because I feel like they're all so good, is Rising Storm, Light of the Jedi, and Lost Stars.
Yeah, I would.
Solid.
That is a
probably have to
really
go.
solid 3.
I probably have to go Lost Stars, Rising Storm.
I think it's down. I think
'cause,
he's
like,
thinking it's down to. It's probably down to Light of the Jedi and Master and Apprentice.
I really like Master and Apprentice.
I know.
I haven't even finished it yet, and I'm thinking it's going to be top 3. Definitely top 5.
Yeah.
Underrated. I'll say this till the day I die. Dooku Jedi Lost needs more love.
Yes.
Needs more love. It's fire. There's so many just great things in that book that get overlooked, and like really made me love Asajj a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
And Dark Disciple. Dark Disciple's really good.
Oh yeah, Dark Disciple.
Oh, I need to start reading
That one tears at the heartstrings. And,
So does
oh goodness.
so does this.
Oh,
yeah.
That-
Yeah,
And
that's,
so does this too. These both.
if you
these
want
both
gut
are-
punches, those $2.
Yeah.
I feel like an underrated Canon book is. Have you guys read Aftermath at all?
Yes.
The third Aftermath book.
Third
is really
Aftermath
good.
slaps. That
Forget
book
the first one.
slaps.
The second and the third one are I really like. The first one was really hard for me.
Yeah,
I went a
I agree.
route with mine.
You're not the first one to say that.
I really went route mine because like I decided to pick the Alphabet Squadron books up first. I had the Aftermath trilogy. I was just like I roared
That's-
to them that.
Yeah. That's I think because after I read tomorrow, because I plan on finishing Fallen Star tomorrow. I don't know if I will, but I think I'm gonna get pretty close. Then I'm gonna start moving also into the Alphabet Squadron.
Yeah, I need to read those too. Also, Phasma's really good.
That's what I've heard. I'm like, I
Haven't
wanna
read it.
buy it.
Haven't
I've
read
heard
it.
It's really good.
I heard it's like Mad Max and Star Wars.
Yeah, Phasma and then the Black Spire book that comes after it.
Mhm.
I recommend those too. But I also have to get into Alphabet Squadron.
No, yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about Alphabet Squadron. Xanto says I read Master and Apprentice and Dooku Jedi Lost back to back, and they're both really, really good. Yeah, reading those back to back they're almost like sequels to each other,
Yeah.
kind of.
Sort of, yeah. Well,
Because you get Rail and or not,
You
yeah, you get
Rail,
Rail in
yeah.
both of them. Like,
Yeah.
mhm.
You kind of get a lot of you get Qui-Gon's complete story would be Jedi Lost,
I
Master
agree.
and Apprentice, right into Phantom Menace, then you get the whole Qui-Gon.
So here's the real question: when are we gonna get a Qui-Gon Dooku book? Because I feel like that is a relationship that needs to be more fleshed out.
Yeah,
Because,
I think
like,
we need more Dooku.
You do see back to Plagueis, because everything comes back to Plagueis. You get there's a scene in Plagueis where Qui-Gon shows up,
Mhm.
and Plagueis is very, very wary of him because he's not like the typical Jedi.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to see Qui-Gon becoming that. Like, was he always like that? Because Dooku is very much he's sort of to the rules, and then once it hits a certain point in the canon timeline, he's like, screw this, like this is not
Right.
what I believe at all.
Yeah, and it's not like his like I guess whenever he left for the Jedi Order, left the Jedi Order, it was just kind of like it wasn't at all what I was expecting in Jedi Lost. I thought it was gonna be some big giant triumphant thing,
Mm-mm.
and in reality, it was just like I'm gonna go rule Sereno. I don't necessarily believe everything you guys are doing now, so I'm just gonna leave. It's like, oh,
For sure.
yeah, I kind of want to see where he got like twisted
yes.
to go with Sidious. That'd be a cool story. Also, I want to know what happened with There's a line in Master and Apprentice where Rael is talking with Qui-Gon, and he's like, "Well, don't you remember that girl?" Like,
Yes,
I
yes,
want to know what happened with that.
dude.
Yeah.
Like, Qui-Gon's got a girl, Anakin gets a girl, Obi-Wan's got a girl. Like, there's an ongoing theme here. Do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Type
Yeah.
of thing with all three of those guys.
When it
Yeah.
comes to Master and Apprentice, everyone's been saying this for months now. What we need the most from Claudia Gray after Fallen Star is a Master and Apprentice sequel that is the Mandalore storyline with Obi-Wan as Satine.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, to see if Corky is a Kenobi.
Yeah.
Just let Julia have
Shout
her
out
moment.
Julia. Shout out Julia.
Yeah. But no, yeah. I think we should just kind of start talking about canon. And let's kind of just start High Republic, which like maybe some things that interest us the most, what we find most entertaining about the High Republic, anything there, and then we'll go prequels, OT, sequel trilogy. And yeah, so High Republic. We're introduced to a lot of new things. It's a whole new order. Besides like Yoda, whole new order, new chancellor, new everything. The galaxy is operated a lot different than what we are really used to seeing. The way that these Jedi view the Force is a lot different than what we're used to seeing, and it's almost like a new, refreshing way of viewing the Force. So what are you guys' kind of thoughts on the High Republic in general? And yeah, let's go to Connor first.
Yeah, so like you said, it was really refreshing to see all these like these different views on the Force, especially in Light of the Jedi. The way that that Avar describes everyone, like actually like experiencing the Force, is just beautiful. And it seems like the Jedi are a lot more understanding and open to, I guess, disagreements, or like other ways of doing things, as opposed to the prequels. One of the things that I always say is, like when I'm talking about the High Republic to someone who doesn't know about it, is you see how the Jedi are supposed to be, and they're actually being peacekeepers, and you realize how far from grace the prequel Jedi actually fell, with just the way they talk to each other almost, and how they communicate and how they express their feelings, and just like the understanding that they have of the Force seems to be way more, I guess, almost like on a larger scale, as opposed to the narrow view that the prequel Jedi have.
For sure.
Yeah, that's definitely like the. I like how you said that. Like the prequel Jedi have a very narrow view, as if High Republic, these Jedi are viewing the Force in deep, like the ocean. We have like a fire, like a song, like all these super
music.
just creative ways that they're thinking of this, and it's, I don't know, it's really, really, really cool to see. Luke, same thing to you?
I mean, absolutely. Like seeing the Jedi being able to share their feelings and looking at the situations that are happening in the prequels and being just like, what? Why are you the way you are now? Like, what happened? And I mean, we've got 2 more phases that are probably going to break us.
Yeah.
and show us where we are going.
Yeah.
And the High Republic, all the inclusivity. There you go. Yeah. Words are hard, math is hard. I always say this on my podcast. But like seeing so many diverse, not only humanoids, but like our first look at another Jedi Wookiee, and knowing like he's like Boryaga is the second Jedi Wookiee that we've seen in canon.
Yeah.
And hopefully knowing that there might be more is the most interesting thing. It's not the most interesting thing to me, but I love the Wookiees. I love Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk's my favorite planet. So like seeing a Jedi Wookiee is like amazing. And if Burry perishes, Claudia Gray, we will have words. We will have words.
Don't even say that.
Don't
Burry
even
can't.
put the juju out
Burry-
there.
But come on, they gave out that poster,
No.
and it's like, who's gonna
guys.
die? And it's like, why is Burry on there?
Yeah.
My baby boy.
Get him away.
Leave him alone. Like Bell, it has been through so much. Just don't do that to Burry, please,
Yeah.
because it will be terrible.
Can we also
But-
talk about how in the audiobooks how Boryaga like speaks?
Oh,
They go
yeah.
from,
So
they go
good.
from like the Wookiee growl, and then they say something. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Mark
so,
Thompson's the GOAT.
Yeah, he is. No, but it's like even looking at the galaxy as a whole, like the Republic is very much built into the mid and inner rims. Now with Starlight Beacon, that's their initiative. The initiative of I always get the Camino names.
Lena So.
Lena So.
Yeah.
Like that's her stamp on the Republic, is by bringing in the Outer Rim, because it's much like the Wild West of when like pioneering back in the American Old West.
Yeah.
And I think the most interesting part about this era is that there are no Sith. There's no Sith. There's no Sith.
Yes.
It's a totally different animal that we are dealing with the Nihil. Or Nile. Sorry, it's Nile, not Nihil. Nile.
It's refreshing.
Yes.
Not having the Sith, and like the way that the Nihil operate is so interesting.
I agree.
Like the Nihil hierarchy is like, it's so interesting, and the dynamic between each rank is like, it's interesting, and it's really like, it's fun to like read, like, because like they're all like, all the Tempest Runners want to overthrow Marcion. They can't, but then all the Tempest Runners hate each other while they're trying to overthrow him. So it's like, what? It's so fun. It's so fun to see banter between each of the Tempest Runners, and I'm just excited to see where this is gonna go.
And all the representation that we're getting for like LGBTQ plus
Yes.
community.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There's so much, which is great.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of people that are hating on it because they don't read it, and then they only see LGBT. Oh, they're forcing an agenda. Like no.
They're
Like,
not.
if you haven't read it, like that stuff is not forced. It's not like it's literally just a part of the story, and these characters are also amazing.
Well,
I remember Connor, you made a video a while ago. I just remember because I commented to someone on it, and the guy was like, someone said like, is the LGBT thing, is LGBT representation forced? And you were like, no, if you mean by amazing characters.
Yeah.
And
It's just like it's not forced. It's like it's different than what it was because there was a lack of like actual representation for like what the world is. Like you interact with people in the LGBTQ plus community all the time. It's just there wasn't any in Star Wars. Now that it is there, you'll notice it, but it doesn't mean that it's forced. It's just what life is.
Like Lena So's son. What's it? Kip? Is it Kip? No.
Yeah, I forget his name. I want to say
You know, but they have like a kiss it in the end of Rising Storm, and it's like, okay, it's just there. It's
well,
not like
and in Out of the Shadows, both so I can never remember her name. The pilot and then the Santeca girl, they have a relationship, and that it's not forced at all. It fits with the story. It flows with the narrative, and it makes sense. The fact that people want to think that they're pushing an agenda can go pound sand,
Right.
because it's not. If it's not, and here's the issue that I have: if it's not for you, then leave it alone. Let other people enjoy what they want to enjoy. Just because there is other characters that you don't see eye to eye with, or you don't think philosophically are the same as you, there are people that read this media, that watch this media, and don't see the representation that has been missing for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Everybody loves Star Wars. This is an inclusive group. There shouldn't be gatekeeping. There shouldn't be for an example, like Revan, them changing him to a woman. Everybody lost their mind. But like, what does it really matter? Does it really matter in the scale in the scale of things?
No.
It's a powerful Force user. Whether it's a woman or a man, no, it doesn't. So it's just, I love that the High Republic is doing so much for other people, and it makes me happy because it's just those people have had no representation for years and years and years and still love the property, even though they felt like they weren't represented. And now people are represented and people hate it.
Yep.
Yeah, and
you can't please everybody.
And that's the thing. So one of the great things about so much new content being pushed out is that, okay, say you don't like the High Republic for some reason. I think if everyone read it,
For some reason.
I really think everyone would like it. If you really just read the books, everyone would really like it. But I think what's going to be great in the next coming years or so is there's going to be so much content released. Okay, sure. Say you don't like Fallen Star. Well, then tomorrow you can go watch an episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
Exactly.
And say you don't like Book of Boba Fett. Okay, then I'm gonna go watch Obi-Wan in a few months, or I'm gonna go watch Andor, and I'm gonna go read
Brotherhood.
Yeah. Oh,
whatever.
don't get me started on that book. Oh my
so like all these new great things are gonna be releasing, and there's gonna be stuff for everyone. And I think releasing a lot of new content is just gonna make the fans who are still dwelling on a movie that came out in 2017 are gonna it's gonna die down, and I'm really excited. And I think, not to get on too much of a rant here, but I think that's something that Marvel has kind of like avoided, is because they're always pushing out new stuff. So okay, say you didn't like Ant-Man, you have Captain Marvel or whatever, or Endgame or Infinity War that's releasing in the next whatever. So I think Star Wars is gonna get to that point where It's just
Yeah.
gonna keep rolling. You don't like it, on to the next thing.
I just hope there's not a whole bunch of oversaturation.
Yeah, that's-
Because
Yeah.
but like I feel like people from Marvel are just like I feel like some people feel like Marvel, it's just another Marvel movie. You know what I mean?
True.
Right.
And I feel like if Star Wars, like Star Wars tried to do it with Solo and Last Jedi, and it backfired.
Yes, and it did backfire.
Horribly.
You're right.
And honestly, it's not even Solo's fault because it was marketed terribly.
Yes,
I feel like if
agree.
it was marketed better, it probably would have been better.
That's true. But I feel like with TV shows, it's a lot different
It's
than
different.
a blockbuster
It is.
movie. Yeah, because like shows, okay, whatever. But with like, like shows, you can just kind of roll over. But if it's a movie, it gets a lot more publicity and stuff. I mean, it's hard to say right now, but
Yeah.
especially with books. Books are a great way of releasing a lot of content at a low
Price range.
Yeah.
price range.
And the budgets
Yes.
for
Right.
anything could be storytelling is immaculate. You could do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's a million comics releasing too. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
there's 2 High Republic runs. There's the Star Wars, like the regular Star Wars run,
Yeah.
Vader.
War of the Bounty. Like, there's so much
Or
stuff.
the
that
bounty
you-
hunters. Yes.
But
Oh.
I do kind of get concerned that like with the shows, like if we have two Star Wars shows going on at the same time, which in 2022, like it could happen theoretically, like if the Bad Batch comes out on like a Wednesday and like Kenobi comes out on a Friday, like
Oh.
that would be good. But if they keep that up, it
Yeah.
could start to feel like Marvel. Because to me, like when a Star Wars show comes out, like the Book of Boba released
It's-
last week, it was like, oh, it
It's
feels
an
like
event.
sacred. It feels
an
sacred.
event.
Yeah.
It's a real
So,
event.
Like, I mean, I don't think that would happen with movies at this point, just because Star Wars, there's not that many movies scheduled.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I could see a point where if we're getting like a million TV shows, not that I'm like complaining about it because I love the content, but I could feel a little
It
less
may not feel as
special.
special.
Yeah.
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 Yep. I agree with that.
Because, like, I feel like Star Wars is smart enough, like Marvel, where they're going to space it out a couple months. I think the closest they can run will be Andor and Bad Batch, because, like, they should come out around the same time frame, but I think they'll be spaced out
Mhm.
well enough where it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah, because it's what Kenobi and/or Bad Batch, Mando 3.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Ahsoka.
So if we're thinking, man, we just get off on like a
I know.
no, but
it's
no,
good,
but if
though.
you so let's put on our executive hats here. So if we're thinking that Andor is gonna be from July to October, is Kenobi going to come out in March after Book of Boba is done,
Is it
or are we
May?
gonna start it in May? Because if you have
Yeah.
16 episodes of Bad Batch, where are you gonna put that?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I
True.
think it could run where we get like a Bad Batch episode, like this, like we get Bad Batch and a different show.
And let
I
me-
mean, it could work out. I don't know.
And I think if they do it March, because I mean you're literally rolling into the next. Because if you do, so Boba gets over at the beginning of February. You take
Okay.
6 or 7 weeks off. Then you got Kenobi coming out on Wednesday.
That's
and you
Kenobi's
play-
going to be the hitter.
And if you plan it out right, you could do it the end of March and go into the last episode coming out on May the 4th. Because it is a Wednesday. And then you can wait 2 weeks and then you go straight into Bad Batch.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that could definitely work.
And then Bad
I'm
Batch
sure they'll announce that all
run
soon though.
to, like,
It would run
July.
it would run into, well, it's 16 episodes. So it would end up running into Andor a little bit. But then again, it's in the same, you could have like a crossover thing happen between Andor and Bad
Yeah.
Batch. Like it's in the same era. I mean, it's not in the same era, but it's like,
The
you know,
same
you could
time
have
frame
characters
kinda
that
thing.
show up in
Yeah.
both. Like I feel like that's more plausible than that happening with Kenobi and Bad Batch.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
unlikely.
I'm sure Saw Gerrera will show up.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
Yeah, I'm
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that Saw Gerrera?
That's Saw Gerrera.
back to High Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We got
Sorry.
I might be
Sorry.
unavailable tomorrow because I might be crying myself to sleep.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Have-
take a Xanax just to like
A Xantos.
yeah, just
Xanatos.
I'm just gonna need to like chill because this book is going to break me.
Yeah. Have you guys read Tempest or listened to Tempest Runner?
I am like I have like an hour and a half left of
Same.
Tempest Runner.
Oh, am I the only one that's freaking listened to it in here?
I've listened to about an hour, but like I was trying to get through Thrawn, and that
Do you
didn't
need
work.
to listen? Okay, I want each one of you and point at you guys. After the podcast is done, finish Tempest Runner.
Dude, that's not gonna happen.
It's possible.
Not
I will finish it.
It's
ah.
Yes,
Oh.
the world building that happens in Tempest Runner, and there are some flashback moments that had me. So I was listening to it while I was at work. Had me in awe of like there's one particular in the end, and it's like, like.
Hey, do
Literal,
you
like,
want me
just-
to listen to this book, or do you not want me to listen to this book?
I want you to listen to this book.
Okay, all right, then don't go deep diving.
Okay. Oh yeah. No, I won't. I'm just saying. Like Xantos in the comments. He said Tempest Runner is 100% worth it.
Yeah, I started it. I started it like 3 days ago, and I was like, I have to get this done before Fallen Star. So I will tonight.
Yeah.
I will attempt it.
Which I haven't talked to anyone about Tempest Runner yet. That's what I was really hoping. What do you guys freaking read it?
I
Well,
started,
sorry.
I started when it came out, and then I just I got lost in the shuffle of things. I think I was reading through Alliances at the time.
Okay.
I'm halfway through through Thorn Alliances is the second one, right? With
Yeah.
Vader. And
Yeah.
I got halfway through it. Well, maybe more than halfway through it, but I just kind of
You lost interest?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit
Yeah.
of
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Well, I'm at the part where like I don't know. Have you guys read like?
Yeah.
I've read the
I'm at the
entire
point-
trilogy.
I'm at the part where Thrawn just got picked up in his ship after like when he was with Padme, and Padme thought he was gonna use a lightsaber. I don't know.
Yes.
I just kind of stopped. I think I might have read The Rising Storm instead.
Dude,
I think maybe that's why I
I mean,
stopped.
you're pretty close to the end of that book, though.
Oh, okay. Because I'm listening to it, so I don't really.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
five
Yeah,
chapters
5 chapters.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're
in
getting
it,
pretty close.
it slaps. That Alliances slaps. It is.
My favorite of those three is Treason.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I would
that's
say
the
Treason is a top 5, top 6 canon book I've read.
best. Yeah. I agree.
Treason's like, I feel like Alliances does a really great job of using those kind of cameos of Padme and Vader, and they do it really well and building on their relationship. But then Treason is more of a lot of build up in Alliances. Treason's where you get all of the characters from Thrawn and their end of their story arc. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because I really did like the first Thrawn book.
Mhm.
I haven't finished Alliances, but I really like Thrawn as a character. It's just it was. I don't know why I just kind of slowed down. I think I read The Rising Storm. That's why I stopped.
Yeah.
But I just kind
Yeah.
of never picked it back up. But it is hilarious every time Thrawn's like, "Oh yeah, Anakin. I mean Vader." Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
banter. Oh my god.
It's so funny.
No, yeah, absolutely.
That he's like, I'm sure you've probably, you've got there. Like, he's like, oh, we've been here before, Vader.
Yeah.
And Vader's like, we haven't. Yeah.
Exactly.
The Thrawn, I haven't read the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy.
I read the first book. I got
And
about
you've been working on the
halfway-
second book for
half-
5 months.
Not 5 months. 2 months. And I just need V to like explain to me what's going on, because I feel like I'm reading the Silmarillion sometimes. In that aspect, if any of you have read the Silmarillion, it's like a bibliography, but I feel like it's just Thrawn just explaining things, and I'm like Michael Scott, explain it to me like I'm a 5th grader
Right.
or a 2-year-old. Explain it
It
to
is
me like
it is daunting to see like if you start Thrawn, you're like, oh, there's 6 books that I have to read, and they're all
Yes.
huge.
well, the last one's a damn Bible.
Yeah.
Right.
It's 500
Yeah.
pages.
22
Yeah, I saw
hours
that
of
at Barnes and Noble, and I
audio.
was like, oh my god, it's this thick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
this
it big
this
boy?
is a thick boy. I tell you
Right.
what. It is the literal Bible.
Which, shout out to my parents. I got this for Christmas. And I got the Barnes & Noble's exclusive edition. This sick poster. in it.
Oh, nice. That is dope.
Man, we are just jumping all around.
Also,
Forget
I
your
know.
categories.
But,
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, we...
you go turn to the chat for a bit. Also, the element says it's power through alliances just to get to treason. It's just worth it alone.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Lost Stars, 550 pages. Ace Bronx says, that's right. Is it that long?
It feels like 450 to me.
Oh,
It's also YA size. Let's see. It is... Yeah, it's 550 pages.
It doesn't feel like
Right.
500 pages at all.
It's my favorite book, but there's some drag moments.
There are drag moments, but it doesn't feel that long to me.
There are definitely some drag like whenever... Oh, I don't know. Is there...
There's some time in when they're at the academy that it's like.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
alright.
say. At the academy, it's like, okay, we can speed it up.
Yeah.
mhm.
And like whenever they have their first kind of argument, whenever they stop talking to each other like the first time, it's like, okay, let's keep going. But then I feel like what Lost Stars does really well is right whenever you kind of maybe start to lose interest a little bit, is it picks right back up with like the Battle of Hoth, and you're like,
Right.
oh, crap,
Yeah.
now we're here.
I know this.
I know
Yeah.
this. I know him.
And I feel like
How
that's the
can it
best
be
thing that could happen with
that's
with
not
Lost Stars is because like, and that's another good book, honestly, to start somebody off on, because you
Yeah.
hit almost every single important beat in the movies in that book, and
Yep.
you see the characters that we know and love, the big three, Vader, Tarkin, like you see all these characters, and I feel like that is a good way to introduce them if they've seen all the movies. I mean, Lost Stars is probably one of the best books.
Yeah.
Oh,
Canon-wise.
by far.
So I have a friend who recently she just watched all of the movies, just got into Star Wars, and she's a big reader, and well, not like a big reader, but like likes to read books on the side, and she's really big into romance. And I
that's
said,
perfect,
all
yeah.
right,
There you go.
You need to read this right now, and she is, and she really likes it.
There you go.
So I'm
That is
like,
perfect.
"What's
Another. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
So I was gonna say another great great read that's in the original trilogy are those from a certain point of view books with
Yes.
Oh,
with like
I haven't read
Yes.
the
Oh my God. Yes.
it's really just a bunch of mini short stories, but it takes you, for example, the first one it's like Star Wars from a certain point of view. You start off the book with what's the admiral's name? The guy who gets choked out by Vader.
Yeah.
What is his name?
Not Piet.
Piet?
Not-
No,
not
not
That's
Piet.
it. No, that's
No,
the
like
Empire.
the
Lost
rebel,
Stars.
like the
Oh,
it's a familiar name.
Antilles.
Antilles, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It literally like you go through the entire story of the entire New Hope from a different point of view. So like
Yeah.
you get his point of view from when he gets choked out in the very beginning of the movie. Then you go
Wait.
to like the cantina and there's like point of views from before like Han Solo shows up. Like they're talking. It's great. It goes through. There's one for A New Hope and Empire.
The best
Wait,
one.
Antilles is who gets choked out? Wedge?
Not
Yes.
Wedge.
No, not Wedge. It's. I don't think there's any relation in canon.
Yeah, I don't know,
Oh, so they're
but
just
it is
do
the same name.
Okay.
It is
But
the
it's just
same name.
it's a great way to it's a great book to read because you can read like a short story in like 15 minutes or
Yeah.
you could go for as long as you want or as
short
not
as
long
you
as you
want.
want. And like there's like a bunch of authors that are really good. Like Claudia Gray has like a short story. Even
Oh,
I just read the
Claudia
one.
has a story.
That's the precursor for her actually getting Master and Apprentice written.
Right, yeah.
It's called
The
Master
story is
and
called
Apprentice.
Master. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Same
know-
thing with
I just
EJO,
read one-
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he has one too. I just read one with Hank Green in Empire Strikes Back.
Hank
It's like it's the naturalist on Hoth or something like that.
Yes.
I haven't finished the Empire Strikes Back one, but I've been
Dude,
going through them
Connor.
all. It's great.
Connor,
Isn't-
when you get to Palpatine's,
Disturbance is
oh
great.
my God.
'Cause
Like, it'll give you chills.
Yeah.
Isn't
I
there
can't wait.
one about the stormtrooper that gets
mind trick? Yes. It's,
Yeah.
mind
Yeah.
tricked? And
It's
he
the
like
same one
runs
that
in the
hit
middle of the sand and like goes naked in the
Yep.
sand or something.
yep, it's
Yeah.
CGO story.
Yeah. DJO,
hilarious.
E.K. Johnston, Paula
Dini.
Kemp.
Wow.
A lot.
So some
There's
like
so many
big
great
time
stories,
great
yeah.
offers. Yeah.
So I recommend
that's
those as
great.
well.
Trying to think. Yeah, I don't know much about those, but they sound really
There's
good.
a story in Empire Strikes Back where when Han and Leia are arguing in Hoth,
Yeah.
and the guy walks between them. It's from that guy's point of view.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Huh, that's really funny. Isn't there one about a fly on Dagobah? In the Empire Strikes Back one? I thought I heard that somewhere.
I don't think I haven't gotten to that part yet in the book, but
Do you guys know, Luke or Hereth?
That doesn't sound familiar. I never saw about the Dagobah cave from that point of view.
Okay, maybe it was like the cave. But still, anyway. Back to let's get into prequel books because we went over a lot of the High Republic. Prequel books, I would say there's because I've read mostly, I guess you could consider them prequel books, and there's some like really amazing ones. So what kind of stands out to you guys? What books? Shows? We could talk about Clone Wars and Rebels. I guess is kind of a prequel show, like forever. So what books stand out to you guys in the prequel era? Whoever.
All right, sorry
Connor
about
or
that.
Luke.
I had my
Could you hear me?
no. Go ahead. No, I couldn't.
Okay,
I couldn't hear you at all. I had audio issues. Sorry.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
you're
good.
good.
I said there's a lot of prequel era books, and which ones kind of stand out to you or your guys' favorite?
Connor, you go, because
Yeah,
I gotta
you
have to
got it.
think about it.
the first one that pops up in my mind is Dark Disciple.
Yeah.
It was one of the first ones that I read, but the biggest thing that I took away from Dark Disciple is like how far the Jedi Council at that point was like willing to go to end the war.
yeah.
They were like the fact that they sent Quinlan Vos to become an assassin, basically, to kill Dooku, was like kind of jarring to me because we're protectors of the peace. We don't, like Yoda says, we use the Force for defense only, never for attack. Like that's the exact opposite of what they did in that moment.
Yeah.
And it's just like you can see they're just so blind and like ignorant to what they should be doing because of the High Republic. You see what the High Republic Jedi do, and you're like, why would they send an assassin? Like that is just so not Jedi.
Yeah. And it's funny, Connor, you bring that up. It reminds me of when in Rebel season 2, when they're in the cave and Yoda starts going off about the Clone Wars.
Yes.
And he says that even I was blinded by the dark side. And that shows because, like you said, the Jedi are peacekeepers, and now they're sending one of their own to kill one of their own. Like, think about it.
They knew that Quinlan was having some problems, so they sent him. Quinlan comes back, and then they sent him again
With
Like,
a known
what
dark
are
side
you
user,
doing?
like
like they knew that Quinlan was having some problems, and Quinlan was like, guys, like I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And they send him back. Like this isn't what the Jedi are supposed to be. Quinlan, they know he's having these problems, and they still are choosing to send him on something that, let's be honest, like they should know that Quinlan is not going to be able to kill Dooku. It's a shame.
The whole thing is like, keep counselors around.
Yeah.
Anakin, Quinlan Vos. We could go down the freaking list. The lost 30 or 20. Is it 20 or is it 30? I thought it was 20.
the last 20.
The lost 20.
Yeah.
20.
Like literally, like it's insane. Like if they would have listened to Dooku, if they would have listened to Qui-Gon, like, come on. Like that's the issue with the prequel Jedi, is that they thought something happened in the High Republic that changed their ways, and it didn't change for the better.
I mean, you can even start to see it now.
Yeah.
The books, like they're starting to like, I know we keep going back to the High Republic, but like it directly affects the prequels in the fact that they're starting to like create a partnership with the Senate.
The Hutts, well,
Yes.
And they
Hutts.
also went to the Hutts, but like they're starting to like sign bills where it's like, okay, yeah, we'll help the Republic. Like they're starting to
We'll
rely
protect.
on them.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
and especially in Rising Storm, the Togrutas aren't
Yeah.
even part of the Republic, which is amazing because obviously in the prequels that they are.
Yeah.
And I think their leader's force sensitive, if I remember correctly, right?
Is she? I didn't know that.
It's like I
It's,
don't
like,
know if it's
hinted
force
at.
sensitive, but like
yeah,
they're talking about how like Togrutas have like almost like echolocation or
Yeah,
something like
echolocate,
that.
that's
with
what it
their-
was.
Yeah, with their tendril. I forget what or what are they called?
It's up here. I
Um,
think it's
they're,
up here. I think it's their head.
Yeah, like their
part up
head.
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. No, yeah. But like, just seeing just seeing how it breaks the Jedi so much that they go to exactly what they are in the prequels, and like seeing like Anakin Skywalker in the High Republic era wouldn't have had any of issues.
It's like he's
None
Elzar
issues.
Man almost. It's almost like
No,
he's
yeah.
Elzar.
No, yeah, absolutely.
He
and
is a lot
Stellan,
like this.
and Stellan is Obi-Wan, and
Yeah.
to a T. Like
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous how similar they are.
And
Yeah.
spoilers for the recent issues for High Republic comics. Right now,
Yep.
Avar is gunning for Lorna D. Like she's hunting her down. She thinks she's
I
the leader
can't-
of the Nile.
Really?
I
Mhm.
can't wait. I can't wait for that because you know it's gonna be what's it called? A snatch.
Well, isn't there is it's confirmed there is a Lorna D Avar lightsaber fight, right? In Fallen
Yeah.
Star?
Oh wait, no. I didn't. I stayed away from those excerpts. So if you read those
I read the
excerpts,
experts. It doesn't reference that at all. It just
Okay.
No, I thought that like someone conflict Claudia.
no, I thought that was in the High Republic.
Adventures or
comic.
something like that.
No, I thought it was in the High Republic comic because Lorna D does get a lightsaber.
Okay. Are you guys caught up on High Republic comics? I am personally not.
No, I haven't.
I skimmed through them. I let Malik tell me like the backstory so that I understand like what's going on, and I'd be like, oh, that's cool. Just
Yeah. I-
Malik's on top of that, man. He's on
Malik-
top of it.
Malik is like the High Republic comic guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He is so into them. My problem with comics is like I have a local comic book store, but I just like not interested in going there much. I don't
Is it
know.
because of like all the issues? Like you just want
Yeah,
one
there's so it's kind
paperback
of
where it's-
overwhelming. I just want one paperback. I can just buy one. I don't have to pay $50 for an issue because but it's a collect. You know what I mean? I just want like I have this. I was talking about this earlier with Hereth. It's like a Han Solo 2015
Oh, yeah.
run. It's a really random run. The
It's a
whole
really
run
random
is
one,
in
but it's
this book.
good.
Yeah.
Have you read this?
Yeah,
You've read the Han Solo 2015 run.
yeah. It's been a
okay.
while, but I'd have to refresh on it. But I enjoyed
cool.
it.
So it's like a really random run, right? And
Mhm.
but everything is in that book. All the issues are in that book.
Yeah,
I
And you
want
can
that.
get
Dude,
'em
can
if-
you get that in High Republic?
you can now.
Mhm.
The trade back, the trade isn't that
Oh,
what the,
really?
The first 5 issues are out, I believe.
the first 5 issues, yeah, are out now, and then I think they're gonna release the rest of them. See, the only issue, I kind of understand that, Carter,
Yes.
because it does like it takes them so long to get that paperback.
Yeah.
It comes out in 6 months, but you have to wait that long, and there's spoilers out there regardless.
Yeah.
Like with the comics, I feel like you're able to avoid those a little bit more, whereas books and TV shows and movies, it's like damn near impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But I get where you're coming from, and it can be very intimidating. I mean, I started getting comics when the Vader run in 2015 started. Just because obviously I'm a Vader guy, so I have to have everything Vader.
Yeah.
But like,
Do you have the Vader 2017 run when the Inquisitor is first
Yes.
introduced?
Oh,
Yep.
No, you got it when it released.
yep,
You know how much that thing's worth?
it's not a special edition, but it's the first print. Yeah, absolutely, I have them.
You
It's
can,
worth no, the one where the Inquisitor is first introduced, which
The
would have
Grand
been
Inquisitor? Yeah.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's worth a lot of money.
Interesting.
It is.
Luke,
It
like,
is.
fascinating.
I
That's
saw it
not-
going for
that's
150
not-
at Pittsburgh Comic Con.
Well,
It's pretty
that's
cool.
staying in my. That's staying.
Yeah.
I'm not getting rid of that.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying like that's a good find.
and
Well,
I was gonna say, Brooke mentioned in the chat. She actually brought up a good point. Most comic book shops do have a system where you can be like, "Oh, this is what I need to read in what order and how it." Like, I believe it's for High Republic. It's the first 7 issues are between a tie-in for between Light of the Jedi and Rising Storm. Then issue 8, I believe, takes place from Rising Storm to issue 12, which was where we're currently at, and then it goes right to Fallen Star.
Okay.
So it's not all that terrible. It's just they do, and a lot of comic book shops do a really good job in labeling their stuff as well, because they'll just be like a Star Wars section, or like in my comic book shop, that's literally I could walk there. It has, so it's like all alphabetical, so it's all like DC, Marvel, but it's all alphabetized, and you just go down the line. Like there's Star Wars, and then there's War of the Bounty Hunters, which is WV. So it's like sometimes they're like that, and then they'll have sections of old comics, not old comics, but like from that same run, other issues. If you're missing one, they'll have that specific one it'll just cost you a little bit more.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
I've heard collect comics by trade, which is a collection of issues, like the one you have, the Han Solo one, where you can get trades of them. Like I know there's 4 per Vader, or you could pay $90 and get the whole run. And it's like the entire thing.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
It can get kind of expensive, but kind of worth it.
The one comic I've read, and I'm gonna finish reading it tonight, is it's the High Republic one, and it's right whenever Loden gets zapped. Spoiler.
Oh, Trail of Shadows. Trail of Shadows. Yep. Great. It's a great.
There's only like one run or two. Isn't there only a few runs?
2 issues.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read that tonight as some prep.
The third dropped. No, there's 3 issues because I'm pretty sure it dropped. The last one in December. The 4th one comes out after Fallen Star.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so I think that'll be a good one to prep for. Because Fallen Star is gonna be like 100 years after. No, like,
Fallen Star. So after
I don't know why I said 100.
A year.
Yeah, like a year or 2.
Yep.
Rising Storm was to Light of the Jedi, so yeah, I would say a year. Probably an easy assumption.
Yeah. Probably just like in between the movies and stuff like that, like Empire and whatever. Connor, how much have you like High Republic comics are you caught up on?
So I was getting them online, like off Comixology, for like the first like 6 issues of like the main High Republic run, I think, or the first couple issues of the main High Republic run. But I just kind of stopped. I've read all the books, like even like the young readers and stuff, but I just haven't gotten into the comics that much.
Yeah.
Like if I see a video on it, I'll watch it and kind of like update myself, but I just haven't gotten myself to spend the money on the comics.
Yeah. I've read Test of Courage. Which, have you guys all read Test of Courage?
I want to. I haven't.
I haven't, but I've heard a lot of great things, and I'm really kicking myself for not getting Test of Courage or Race to Crash Point Tower.
Yeah, it's
because there is
read Crash Point, but
in Crash Point, the main character in that is supposed to show up in Midnight Horizon, which is DJO's young adult reader.
Yeah, I've read all of Phase 1. Phase 2 I'm lacking. I haven't read Out of the Shadows or Crash Point Tower, because I'm almost thinking while I'm working tomorrow, bang out Crash Point Tower, because it might be worth it. So then I just have those. I just haven't read Out of the Shadows, but
Crash Point's good. I really like Ram.
Yes, that's his name, Ram.
Yeah, he's really cool because it's just like he's a mechanic that can like manipulate stuff through the Force.
Oh yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
really
He
cool.
sees them. He sees the Force as gadgets and being able to put pieces together. It's very, very interesting. I like that character a lot.
He also in Rising Storm for a little bit. He was the guy that like fixes the comms and then they were telling the events as it was happening.
Yeah, and you see that scene in the book, the book basically, like in Crash Point, you see that scene that you see in Rising Storm, and then go a separate way with Ram. But yeah, you see that scene.
Which scene?
Which scene? When he breaks what's her face out of jail?
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
I.
the what's it called? The like
What is
the
her name?
broadcaster lady,
Yes.
and
I
she goes to broadcast
can't
and the
remember.
recruiters come. That
Dang.
lady. Okay. What is that lady's name? Yeah,
Hold
'cause
on.
that's a really
the former
with,
Jedi.
Like,
I
oh,
forgot.
wait,
What
are you
is-
talking about
with the purple lightsaber, yeah.
Jedi?
Oh,
the
Tyork?
Jedi-
Tyork, that's her
Tyork?
name. Yeah.
Oh, Tyork. Okay.
Oh, she gets. Oh yeah, that's right.
Like Ram shows up
yeah, that's
and
right.
like helps her get out, and then like that's in the book. That's in Crash
Okay.
Point, and then you go a separate way with
Okay.
Okay, that's right.
What? So you're saying whenever Ty gets captured, and with Lorna? No, because I'm getting the things mixed up. Because there is the with like Lorna, and she's talking to the Jedi archivist, the archive person.
Yeah.
And then he's like taunting her the whole time, and then they break out and they send the broadcast signal. That whole arc, but I don't think Ty.
It's Ty, and then the lady that was like working on that like technology that
Oh,
Yeah.
the lightsaber technology.
yeah that made the
Yes.
lightsabers up.
They
Yeah.
bust through
Yes.
the window and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene is when Ram shows up.
Oh,
That's-
okay. I got you.
That's crazy.
I read Rising Storm twice, and there's a lot that goes on there. Really.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a
Because
Yeah.
I
whole
read it
lot
once,
there.
listened to it another time.
Yeah.
Um.
But back to the
But-
prequel era.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, hey, you know, sometimes you just gotta.
Sometimes you gotta gush about the High Republic.
yeah,
No,
you
you
gotta,
gotta do what you gotta do.
especially on the eve of all of our hearts getting ripped
Oh.
out, getting stomped on the
Oh,
ground, and but
Lots
yeah,
of gray.
prequels. I mean,
Yeah.
can we talk about Legends, because I feel like, well, hold on. Even in the prequel era, the one book that I'm really looking forward to is Brotherhood.
Yeah.
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 That book is going to give me it better give me the scar, how he got the scar in that first 6 months.
Ooh.
It better give me Asajj Ventress versus Anakin.
I think Ventress is showing up.
Yeah, she
they
is.
confirmed
She
it.
is showing
I
up. So
hope
this will be
so.
her first canon. So like in the canon timeline, this will be her first canon appearance in
Oh,
in
right.
the timeline.
Yep.
like Padawan Ventress.
Yes. Like when Dooku discovers her and gets hurt, because it's just like in the
So when she's
2003.
still with.
Oh, I love that so much. 2003
like-
Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like the 2000. It's literally. I think it's going to bring the story of Asajj Ventress, bringing her in, and how they did it in the 2003 Clone Wars, because the way they did that was fantastic. Like
Yeah.
pitting her against Anakin and like her ultimately failing, and like in Legends, she actually gives him the scar.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. I wonder if hopefully we'll see Anakin get knighted in this book.
I think
Well,
in the
it's
beginning.
right. It's right after he
Yeah.
gets knighted. And I mean Queen's Hope, all the
Maybe.
Padme books. Those
Yeah.
are great.
Yeah.
I haven't indulged into them, but I did pre-order the last book,
Queen's Hope.
and I'll probably do it ass backwards, to be honest. I'll read Queen's Hope, and then I'll read the other books as well.
Yeah, I got Queen's Peril for Christmas. And I'm like, I really want to read that. So I'm just gonna read that.
Is that the second book or the first one? I can't
It's
remember.
the second one, but I think it takes place
Before, is it a prequel?
before.
Is it a
Yeah,
prequel?
it's like a
Okay.
prequel, but
yes.
it's like, so I think I'm gonna read it first because I've heard people who've read it first and they say it's fine.
Okay.
But I don't know. We'll see. But we are trying to get EK and Mike Chen on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be dope.
Yeah. so
Yeah.
EK is very active on
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
It's super cool seeing her there. Like,
Yeah.
and same thing with DJO. Like these big
Yeah.
writers are on TikTok and on these different social media platforms. Then you can reach out to them anytime you want.
DJO's
Yeah.
lives are amazing. Like he'll just sit down.
Oh,
and
it's
give writing
hilarious.
Advice.
And he'll write in the last couple of ones, like me and Camilla have been like throwing out like trying to get him to talk about High Republic.
Yeah.
and I put out so in Midnight Horizon, are we gonna see a Sith planet? And he looked at my comment and goes, I'm not saying a damn word. And he went back to signing copies of a book that he had just written.
Yeah.
It is so, and you're right, Carter. They're so down to earth. They're just like we
Yes.
put some of these Star Wars, not only content creators, but some of these writers and some of these producers, and some of these directors on a pedestal, and then we get to see them in a setting. They're just like you and me. They're just human beings. They make mistakes, and I think that's the most amazing thing.
They fanboy over this stuff.
Oh
They
yeah,
fanboy
he was
fangirl over
he
all
was
this
fan
stuff.
he was fanboying over Book of Boba because it hadn't come out yet. And he's like, I don't know anything, so
Right.
don't ask me.
Yeah.
So,
He,
but yeah.
He was also on Twitter joking about how he accidentally leaked the ending to Fallen Star
Oh, yeah, to his real estate agent.
and then he goes, I hope they're not a big Star Wars fan. And he asked, he goes, yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And then he did the gif from Office when Jim Hopper's like going down in the car.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
No, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just like seeing these people on there, it's so cool, and
Yeah.
like a lot of them are like they feel so privileged that they get to. It's like such an honor. They're like, oh my gosh, I get to write for Ahsoka Tano now. Like, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that Ahsoka novel.
the Ahsoka
Yeah.
novel is great.
The Ahsoka novel, especially the audio book, I think really does it for me because it's Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Ma-
Ashley does
Mark
a really good
Thompson,
job.
Mark Thompson's great, but
Ashley Eckstein is better.
Ashley, that's probably the best audio.
Well, and also the actress who voiced Padme in the Clone Wars
Yep.
does all the Queen's
Captain Tabor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she does the voices for that as well. So I mean,
Both BK
it's
Johnson
just-
books, and then she likes to hire the voice actors to do it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
No, yeah, the Ahsoka novel's great. I mean, everyone complains about that first 2 pages being retconned. It's like, so
it's
what?
a necessary
So
thing.
what? Like,
Yeah.
don't be complaining. Like,
We know
don't
what
say that
happened.
Disney doesn't know their
Yeah.
stuff because. Don't say Disney doesn't know their stuff because they changed 2 pages of a book or they changed one Canon comic panel. Like, it's cool to see we're getting this great content. That book is amazing. Don't let that take away from your experience of the book.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, but what were your thoughts on Connor when they retconned that?
Yeah.
You're a big Kanan guy. Did you read that comic when it was first coming out?
Yeah, well, not when it first came out, but I have read it. It doesn't bother me honestly
Okay.
because like I trust like Dave and all those guys at the top, like all those people at the top. Like if they think that this would be a better choice for the story, like I'm not gonna let it ruin my experience of reading the comic or watching the show. You know what I mean? Although the voice of Kanan in Clone Wars in that season,
Yeah.
it took me out a little bit, but no, I don't have a problem with them changing it up because I know who was it? I think it might have been like Fern and Julia did like a talk about like from like unreliable narration.
Yeah.
Just like maybe he doesn't remember it correct. Like it could be like something like that, and it's not enough to bother me.
Yeah.
They're both great stories, so
Yeah, and like you're saying, the people at the top, like, to say that these writers and creators don't know what they're talking about, like, they do realize, like, this is their job, this is their
Yeah.
entire life, is making sure that these stories are coherent with one another.
Yeah.
They're not gonna mess up to the point where it's really gonna change anything.
and it's not even like they messed up; they chose to do it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not like they're.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
like Dave Filoni was like, "Oh, I forgot in the Kanan comic that it was this clone trooper."
Like, no,
Like,
he
no,
knows
that's
he knows more about Kanan than all of us.
He's
Right.
like,
But
you know what? Kanan ain't gonna do that.
Yeah.
Kane's gonna do this,
And-
and it's gonna be a lot more cooler because he's gonna have to do it against Crosshair, and then we get
Yeah,
like the
like-
fun back and forth, and then you get to see Hunter really get called out for what he doesn't do, and it just it's really well done.
Yeah.
I think.
And
yeah, like, people just need to realize that these people they're professionals.
I mean, look
I
at
think it's the minority too who complain about it.
yes,
You know,
for
it's
sure.
it's a loud minority,
absolutely.
but you know,
And
I
for
mean-
Ahsoka, I remember people complain about that. E.K. Johnson and Dave Filoni sat down and interviewed, like, while they're writing the book. They literally sat down together, like, okay, what do we need to keep in line with Rebels? Okay, what do we need in line? Because at the time Clone Wars Season 7 was out, it was just the scrap storylines for Clone Wars. So she took concept art and that kind of note from Filoni and she wrote it.
Yeah.
It's I mean, I would put I guess Ahsoka and Clone Wars is kind of the same thing with Bad Batch and the Canon comics, as like one little scene was changed. With that, don't let that ruin your experience with the rest of the story.
No.
But going into that middle between 3 and 4, that kind of gap, if I had to recommend one era of books, if you really like Rebels is my favorite thing in all of Star Wars. I highly recommend reading Thrawn and A New Dawn. It doesn't matter which order for this. Go Thrawn, A New Dawn. Actually, I would go A New Dawn first. Then I would go Thrawn. And then I would go Season 1 of Rebels. Then Thrawn Alliances. Then Season 2 and 3 of Rebels. Season 1, then 2 and 3, and then the beginning of Season 4, whenever Thrawn leaves, read Thrawn's Treason. I did that because I heard it was really good, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try this out for myself, and I did that probably 2-3 months ago. Was the best experience I've had. It really engages you in like all aspects of that story, and if you want the full Rebels experience, I highly suggest you doing that.
And it's not a major spoiler for Treason, but the first scene is the scene in Jedi Knight when Tarkin goes up, like, you must go back to Coruscant. Director Krennic is telling us, you must have a discussion. And that's the entire book. It's really cool.
We can't get into anything because Connor has.
I know. I just said the opening.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Highly recommend. And even you could throw in the Canon comics there too. If you want the full Canon story, Bad Batch, Canon comics, and New Dawn.
So one thing I really like about New Dawn is the introduction of Ray Sloan.
Yes.
Because she is a big player in the Empire in between Jedi, Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. I think another underrated book, Catalyst. Catalyst is such a good.
I haven't read Catalyst.
What?
That's the Rogue One prequel,
right?
Yes. So good. You get to see the relationship between Jyn and her parents. You get to see the relationship between Galen and Krennic. You get to see the relationship of Krennic and Lyra. Like, you get to see all of these amazing things. It takes place shortly before the end of the Clone Wars. And then it leads up to their escape. You get to see Saw Gerrera, of course. And that and Tarkin is everybody hates it for some reason, but Tarkin's story is so interesting to me because he's a guy that we don't know much about. And that book, yes, it's kind of a slow burn. Yes, James Luceno likes to write out soliloquies and give out descriptions, but I mean, the first half of that book, when he sees Vader, and there's a scene where Vader. Have any of you guys read Tarkin?
No,
I have it right here.
Okay,
but I haven't read it.
Vader in this book, you can see the bits of Anakin Skywalker still left.
I love that.
And you can and this book is where he kind of puts the pieces together. And there's references in that book that to the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend reading Tarkin. Tarkin, not the greatest character. I low-key love him because of that book. Tarkin's good. Catalyst is good. What's another OT book that I'm forgetting? Obviously the Certain Point of View.
Lost
Stars, great. I did not like the Luke one with
Heir to the
him.
Jedi.
Yeah, Heir to the Jedi. Didn't really hit much for me.
I've heard
Connor, have you read it?
No, I've
Not.
only heard bad things.
Yeah, see, that's
Same here.
I know some
It's-
people like it. Like I know a couple of creators that like it. Yeah, but for the most part,
I was like, this is. I'd rather read the Star Wars run and watch Luke go through that than go through what he goes through in that book. Like it's
would-
tough, but if you love Luke Skywalker, go for it.
I would recommend if you are wanting to read between what's 4 and 5, the Heir of the Jedi. Read
Yep.
Weapon to the Jedi. It's a young reader book. It's a direct
Yes.
sequel to Heir to the Jedi, but it doesn't acknowledge anything that happens, and they show how.
Have you read it?
Yeah, it's one of the few Black Series young reader books. It's
Okay.
same series. It's like Smuggler's Run,
Yes.
Before the Awakening,
Uh-huh.
and a couple others.
and Leia's.
Leia's where
What
she-
was Leia's?
It was her trying to figure out what the second Death Star is.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh, that's a book?
They're all
Yeah.
young reader child books.
It's like literally like maybe
Huh.
this thick. Like it's not. It's like maybe 30 pages, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
It's all about Luke training, how he learned saber combat before getting to Yoda.
Really good.
Huh. There is one young reader I have, and it's Guardians of the Wills.
I've heard it's
I
really
haven't
good.
read it yet, but I've heard that's like the best young reader. Besides maybe High Republic ones. That's what I've heard.
I mean, it is Beige and Chirrut, the most
Yeah.
underrated duo in the entire galaxy.
Yeah. I coming out of surgery, I was loopy on gas and just started talking about Chirrut.
Yeah, that was your most popular. Wasn't that your biggest video on your channel?
No.
Like what?
no.
It was what 11,000 views or something like that.
Like 15,000 views.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'll take
that,
it.
that- those are the ones that are just the best. Like you're not
Yeah.
meaning anything, and it just happens.
It's like, ah.
Gotta love them.
Yeah. There are a few young readers that I do want to read, and it's Ezra's. He has 2 young readers. One is like Ezra's something with danger or something like that. Let me look up the name. It looks really fun, and I think I'm gonna read that.
You got to get ready for the
To,
Ezra episode, you know.
Ezra's Duel with Danger. Ezra's Duel with Danger. Young reader. Yeah. Heard it. I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't heard anyone that's read it, but I want to be like the one guy that's read it.
Then I feel like for the most part we did tackle the OT transitioning. I would still call it part of the sequel
Ooh,
trilogy.
Lords
We
of the
gotta-
Sith.
I have one more thing to talk about with the OT.
Okay.
Vader 2017.
Oh,
Yes.
how do we not know about this?
Yes, 1,000% yes. It's one of the greatest storytelling,
Yeah.
and I will go into heavy detail. That TikTok is exactly how I feel when I read that comic run. It's just fantastic. Banger after banger after banger after banger.
It is the one comic I own. Or no, I have 2 comics of Vader. The Vader 2020 run. Vader 2017 is super good. We get to see right after. I guess that is more prequel though.
Yeah.
Nah, it's
OT.
it's
It
in the in
feeds
between.
in.
Yeah.
It's in
Yeah.
the in
3
between.
and 4.
Vader 2020 is after Empire.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that one's great too. That one's
Which-
still ongoing, so I
Look at
really love that
this.
run as well.
Look at this. So I have this. This is issue number 4. I have it in display in my
Yes.
room.
Yeah.
Vader hugging. Oh God.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Well, I think the best art
Yeah.
is from Vader 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's the best. That one, or when he's meditating, so it shows like a hot sun, like he's on a
Yes.
starship, and you can see like he's meditating, and it's without the chamber, which I don't know canonically if that's possible for him. I guess we'll find out in Kenobi. But like there's like his helmet, like the face mask is this way, the helmet itself is that way. Like it's the most gorgeous work of art ever.
Yeah.
There's also this one cover. I forget which run it's from, but it's Vader, and it's I have concept art of it. It's like back there, that little poster.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
made up of cards, but it's concept art from '77, and it's like Luke holding his saber up in the air, hoisting it like ripped Luke. You know what I'm talking about, Buff
Yeah.
Luke. And there's
Oh.
a comic run where, or cover art where it's Vader holding up his lightsaber in
And
the
it's
same
Palpatine
way
in the
Luke
background.
does.
And it's
Yeah.
Palpatine in the background.
Ooh.
It's a really cool cover.
Yeah, it is.
Well, when we're talking about Vader, and obviously we're kind of flipping between 2020 and 2017, we kind of
Mhm.
got to talk about Vader 2015 with
Yes.
the run with him and Boba Fett, and how Vader figures out Luke is his son.
I have not read those ones yet. I've
Oh.
heard great things.
Oh, I just gut punch after gut punch. It's like you because you always imagined like before 1980, and like even after 19, so like 1981. Let's say you saw Empire Strikes Back. You're like, how did he find out? Like that's never been explained.
Right.
Not even in Legends was it really explained all that much. So, like, saying how that it's Boba Fett, of all freaking people, it's Boba Fett. And I love that. Because it's just like Boba Fett's got something up his sleeve, and he's got something against Vader, and he knows something. Like, he's got a card to play, but I feel like Boba Fett and Darth Vader are very, like, Vader sees himself here, but he's willing to put Boba Fett at that same position, and to like send him out and not send out like a squad of stormtroopers just shows you the relationship that those two characters have. And like 2015, I mean, even in that 2015, he goes back to Geonosis. He gets he tries to get the CIS droids working. He sees the Geonosian Queen that we speculate that we see in Rebels. With I can't remember that.
Canon, and Ezra.
Sagarria's. But what's the Geonosian's name?
Oh, it's,
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I can't think of it either.
I'm remembering it because Sagarria punches the hell out of him.
I
want to
say it's not OG.
Oh, the
OG is
guy.
yeah, no, but that egg is the queen that we see in that comic run.
Okay. Huh.
So there's like so many parallels to different media, and like it's just so good. So good.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check them out. I think I'm gonna buy Marvel Unlimited, so I'll be able to just grind through some comic runs. Try to think anything else from the OT.
Lords of the Sith.
Lords of the Sith.
Just saying, Lords of the Sith.
I stopped reading. I read the beginning of that and I just kind of stopped.
Like
I didn't finish it.
Here's the thing. Obviously, if you haven't already noticed, Vader Stan. So like that book, you see the most badass stuff happen with Vader. Like the beginning, when you get the inside look into what he's thinking about. He's thinking about Obi-Wan. He's thinking about Padme. He's thinking about the Jedi. He's thinking about Palpatine. He's thinking about if he wouldn't have lost on Mustafar.
Right.
And like there are so many moments in that book where it's just, you think the hallway scene in Rogue One is terrifying? No, there is a certain point in that book where he is the most terrifying thing in the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
And you also get to see the Syndulas.
Yeah, because in the whole storyline,
Really?
Vader's hunting Cham Syndulla
Yes,
down with
he's
Palpatine.
hunting Cham.
Oh.
Yeah.
So this happens canonically, depending on how far what they do with On Free Tar, because he was supposed to, because he's in this book. He's a big factor in this book because they go to Ryloth. So he's still alive, which he's still alive in Bad Batch. They've confirmed that. So that part of that book is still everything. So up to this point is still canon.
Mm-hmm.
But that book, you get to see him be the most ruthless. You get to see Palpatine do some crazy shit. Like, I get everybody's hate. I get it. but I love that book so much.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first canon books that I had read.
I'm gonna have to give it a second try.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be my next wave after I read these like 8 books I just got.
I would highly suggest the audiobook.
Okay.
Okay. Which Vader's voice in audiobooks is hit or miss.
Yeah. I
Yes, it is. It absolutely
Because
is.
sometimes it's like in alliances, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's
but
kind of a miss in alliances.
I
so
like it.
alliances,
Yeah.
so in alliances, they're actually able to use the breathing sound,
Yeah.
like the audio. Like they hadn't up to that point, they weren't allowed. They hadn't been able to put it in there.
Oh, really?
So if you listen to the audiobook of Lords of the Sith, there's a part where he uses his breathing as like a scare tactic, basically. And like it's Mark Thompson doing the breathing, but if you allow yourself to like go through let go of like what you're hearing and just imagine the actual breathing, most terrifying part. But
That's
yeah,
great.
Moving into
Yeah,
the-
Lords of the Sith. Anything else?
I don't think so.
I think we basically hit nearly almost everything. I'm sure there's something we're missing, but it's like at the end of it.
I mean, Thrawn.
Thrawn, yeah. Well, we already
But-
kind of talked about Thrawn.
Yeah,
a
we
little
talked
bit.
about Thrawn.
But getting into
Yeah,
a little bit post
sequel
Return of the Jedi, I would say about like from post Return of the Jedi up until Rise of Skywalker is what I would count as a sequel era because it's the New Republic era until the Resistance, First Order Civil War.
I have not read anything.
Really?
Yeah,
I would-
I've been all High Republic, prequel trilogy, Rebels. I think I've read 15 canon books, a little bit, maybe a few more if you count audio, like Tempest Runner.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'm like at 16 maybe, but I just haven't gotten into it. I have Bloodline, I have Aftermath, I have Alphabet Squadron, just haven't read any of them.
Bloodline.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh.
I would
So I've
start with
heard.
Bloodline.
So I heard that, but then I also heard don't read Bloodline until you read Aftermath. But like I've heard people that love Bloodline and they've read Bloodline the first thing. So I don't know.
Connor, your take.
Yeah.
I think I read Bloodline first.
Okay.
No, I definitely read Bloodline first.
And
I don't remember.
It was good.
I don't think for me it didn't. I don't really think it made a difference. But I think
Okay.
Bloodline is by far the better book in my opinion. So
Okay.
that's where I would go with it. What would you say, Luke?
Bloodline, because of all the political stuff that happens in that book, you get to meet a really interesting take of a senator.
That's what I've heard. Is that the senator who is like
That's very much like,
pro-empire?
oh, the Empire, they were bad, but I
Ransom.
mean, I understood what they were trying to
Oh
do.
my god.
Well, you get
Bro.
to see some really like interesting concepts. Like there's people who like collect imperial artifacts, like
Yes.
almost like Civil War memorabilia, you know, like or like just like people who kind of not sympathize, but like the big idea is like there's Leia's faction who she leads, and then
Yes.
there's Casterfo's faction, and they're just butting opposites. Like
Okay.
Casterfo thinks there should be like a bunch of government control. It's basically just like a real take on like
Yeah.
actual politics,
Okay.
and you see how like the ideas of some of like Casterfo's people completely differ than Leia's. And at some points, if you're not into politics, I could see how it could get a little bit boring.
Drawn
But
out.
I'm like all in on it because I love these just like philosophical and political discussions in the Star Wars universe. So it was a really cool thing to read. And also there's something huge that happens that I can't spoil for you
Yes.
that totally impacts the sequel trilogy like greatly. Specifically like actually never mind, I'm not gonna say.
No,
But you know what I'm talking about.
No.
jeez.
Yeah.
I
And
think I know
like
what you're
to-
talking about. I'm not gonna say anything, but I think
To-
I know what you're talking about.
to also add on to that, you might see something from this book in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying anything more. Connor knows
Okay,
what
I'm
I'm
gonna
talking
go-
about.
I'm gonna finish Fallen Star, and then I'm gonna go right into Bloodline. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the fact that, and I'm with Connor on this, like the philosophical and like looking at what's wrong and what's right and what it really matters to people, looking at different perspectives. Like Leia struggles with that other point of view, but she respects the guy who runs that faction, and it's vice versa. It's a mutual respect.
Yeah.
Because there are some moments where the guy throws jabs and then he realizes, oh well, she lived through this.
Right.
She's
Leia's
one of
a
the
bit older, and like a lot of people are kind of like digging at the veterans, I guess, almost.
Yes.
She's like, listen, like I was literally on the Death
front
Star.
lines.
Like
Yeah.
like, and it's just a cool take to see the aftermath of. I mean, it's in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi and how they deal with that politically. Because I think I don't know exactly how many years it takes place after. It seems like it's like 15, 20 somewhere.
So it's I think it's 10 or 15 years after the last Aftermath book.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because Ben is with Luke at this
with
point.
Luke. Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's all we're gonna say about that.
You also get to
Okay.
see a really cool look into Han and Leia's relationship, which is it's my second favorite
Jeez.
relationship behind Canon and Hera.
Same.
But it's really cool to see how how you can see how Han Solo is struggling with like how he parented Ben and stuff like that. And their relationship is sometimes on the rocks, but then they always come back together. Like it's really cool to see them work through their problems.
It's really the line in Force Awakens. When she comes up and says, "I always hated watching you leave," and he says that's why I did it. Like that relationship is very much seen in Bloodline.
Okay.
And like there's other big things as well. And it sets up the sequel. It sets up the sequel trilogy amazingly well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
That would be the best book in the sequel trilogy, in my opinion.
I also really like. I don't think it's better than Bloodline, but I really like Phasma and Black Spire.
See, I have to read those two. I'll probably read those two after Fallen Star. Like, there's so many things that I have to get to, and there's so little time. Do you know what I mean?
And there's more books coming out, like and more comics. It's just keeps piling on top of each other. Right.
Yeah, it comes out February 1st when it was supposed to come out February 3rd. They moved the date up 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh, us getting back to High Republic.
Yeah.
Can we also talk about what's the book called? That's going to come out with Luke and Lando.
Shadow of the Sith.
Yes.
Shadow of
Yes.
the Sith.
Yes.
That
That
book-
book's really good.
Star Wars
That's my
lawyer,
number
wherever
one
you're
book
at.
on the announcements. If Chris is still in here, that's like
Yeah.
that is my when they announced those books, I was like, okay, that is the one that I'm most excited for. Because I mean, I love Anakin and Obi-Wan, but like I love Luke, so seeing him and Lando like basically we're gonna get the whole story that'll fill in the gaps with like Ochi and all that.
And it's Luke in his prime.
Chris just said,
This
"I
is-
have been summoned."
yeah. It's Luke. It's Luke in his prime. Think about that. You get to hear and read green lightsaber Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
Like that. Does that not send chills down your back?
it's my favorite.
What is the what's the book gonna be about?
It's Luke and Lando. Lando is after Lando's daughter is kidnapped, and Lando goes to Luke and is like, "We need to go find her." And it's also about Ochi hunting down Rey's parents at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
And also, I think Luke learns about Exegol.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's a story about Skywalker. They're talking about how they're looking for Exegol, and Lando gets like straight up Hasana.
Yeah.
Okay, here it says Jedi. I'm reading the synopsis. It says the Empire is dead nearly 2 decades on the Battle of Endor. The tattered remnants of Palpatine's forces have fled to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, but for the heroes of the New Republic, danger and loss are ever present. Companions Jedi Master Luke Skywalker is haunted by visions of the dark side, foretelling an ominous secret growing somewhere in the depths of space on a dead world called Exegol. The disturbance in the Force is undeniable, and Luke's worst fears are confirmed when his old friend Lando comes to him with reports of a new Sith menace.
Yes.
And then it talks about how his daughter is stolen, and I think he's gonna meet Rey's parents too.
I
Oh
think
my gosh.
think
This book
Lando.
sounds amazing.
Let me tell you, people that have issues with plot holes in the movies, shut the fuck up and read the book. I'm sorry, but shut up and read the books, because there's only so much you can tell a story in a 2.5-hour movie.
Yes.
Mhm.
If you read all of I'm not saying you have to, but if that's your complaint, here's
Don't
your
act like
answer.
Don't act like the content's not there.
Exactly. It's there. It's there for everything. Hell, we're getting, like in Brotherhood, we're getting a thrown away line into an entire book.
Right.
Like, that's how insane this is. So, but like,
Yeah,
Connor,
Chris-
you were reading the visions of the dark side, which reminded me in Aftermath. Remember in Aftermath, he's talking about, there's an excerpt where Thrawn is mentioned.
Yeah.
And Palpatine actually has been feeling something pulling from the outside, unknown regions.
Yeah,
This
Tarkin.
entire time.
Yeah, people act like Palpatine, this is like just out of the blue. Like, no. From what I've heard, Aftermath, there's some stuff with Palpatine's contingency.
Yes.
I've heard, well, obviously, Battlefront 2 campaign is all Palpatine's contingency plan. I've heard in Tarkin, Luke, you can test this. I heard there's a midsection where Palpatine leaves into the unknown regions.
Yes, he does.
This has been set up for years, and I got in an argument with someone on TikTok the other day because they told me that Palpatine's, because we were arguing about whether Mace Windu's going to come back or not, and I said no, and I said one of the reasons is because Boba's return was always kind of a thing in Legends, whatever. Like, it was always kind of a thing that Boba got out of the Sarlacc, and Palpatine's return had a lot of build up. They also said, this person commented and said Maul's return, but also we got a two seasons prior to when Maul showed up, we got a hint of him returning with Savage. So to say that Mace is going to show up with literally no build up at all, like, they would at least be hinting towards his return. And if you're really paying attention and reading the canon books, I don't know if you could have quite predicted Palpatine's return, but you definitely could have gotten, like, it definitely wasn't out of the blue if you were to read all that stuff.
Like, there were hints. I mean, even in The Force Awakens, like,
I was gonna bring that up.
Snoke's theme is
It's Palpatine's.
It's like has elements of Palpatine's theme in it. And then in the novelization of that movie, when Rey slices Kylo in the face, she hears a voice.
Yeah,
that's like,
she hears of
just kill him, bro. Like who else would, you know what I mean? Like,
well,
like, just kill him.
And also, in Last Jedi, Snoke's theme is very ominous. So this is why I always, well, even in The Force Awakens, it's not only Palpatine's theme, but it's the theme that Palpatine uses in Episode 3 when he talks about Plagueis.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And that was the leading theory of him being Plagueis, which I would have absolutely loved, because the scar is right from Legends. Like, we didn't know at that point if he was immune or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, there was so many fascinating things, but like, Palpatine's return makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And yes, was it mishandled?
Did we need
Maybe.
some Fortnite action? Probably not.
Probably.
No.
No.
I would have rather have heard that in, like, as Kylo, like we get a scene where Kylo, like, hears, like, an officer comes up to him and says, Supreme Leader, we have a message. There's a message on open comms, and it's Palpatine's voice.
Or
Right.
And then you get the cut of him going to Mustafar.
Or if you want to not have it be like an extra scene, literally, the introduction shot when we're going to see Poe right before he says that somehow Palpatine returned. There's just dead shot where there's nothing happening. Just insert the end of that message there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
I
we
mean, and
did
it
need
happened
the
in Legends a million
format,
times too. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not like it doesn't make sense. It does make sense because
You're
just
just
don't like-
literally
you're just not putting in the work for it to make sense.
in the prequels, he's like, it's possible to like cheat death, and Anakin's like, all right, cool, let me try it, and it makes sense. Like, I made a video on this the other day. It's like it kind of like made me feel better that Anakin did fall to Palpatine's like words, because they weren't like empty words. Like, he figured it out. It was possible. It makes his fall a little more realistic than just having Palpatine like, oh yeah, I can defeat death, and then just like him not doing anything about it. But it makes sense that he could do it. He just didn't tell Anakin.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the selfishness of the Sith. They only think of themselves. And why would Palpatine want to give Anakin the ability to cheat death? Come
Exactly.
on now. That's the only thing that he wants. And Exegol he's able to learn more from Exegol, and the only way he is able to get that, going back full circle, is because of Thrawn.
Yeah, because
He's only able to discover Exegol because
Oh.
of Thrawn.
Thrawn uncharts
Wait,
the unknown
what?
reaches for him. Yeah, they say it in I think it's in the first Thrawn book.
Yes,
they hint
First
at it again in
first
Thrawn Treason.
Aftermath. Well, yeah. Thrawn Treason and in Aftermath. It's actually brought up in Aftermath before, because Aftermath was actually was the catalyst for Timothy Zahn to actually get Thrawn into canon,
Okay.
because they did mention him in I think it's Connor. Is it the first Aftermath book, or is it the third one?
I don't remember specifically, because I got to listen to them all in a row. So I don't remember, but the seeds were there.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that in Aftermath, like, Jakku plays a huge part, and
Yeah.
like, there's a facility on Jakku where basically they're trying to like clone. It's like a cloning facility, secret cloning facility on Jakku. Like, it's all there.
It is all there.
Yeah.
I know I've heard from Malik that the Aftermath trilogy, specifically Ray Sloane, is all about Palpatine's contingency.
Yes. Ray Sloane, love her character in that.
Yeah.
Because she is the only thing that is keeping the Empire afloat at that point. She is the highest ranking person besides one other character. And like, she is the highest. She is the only one that is like, she's not a Grand Moff at that point. She's a Grand Admiral. She's a Grand Admiral. So it's Grand Admiral Ray Sloane. She's the only one that takes the fleet into the unknown regions.
Yeah.
That's an Aftermath?
Yes.
Jeez.
Ray Sloane
Oh my gosh.
and Nora. Yeah,
I
this
don't
means
know
nothing to him.
Yeah, I know.
This
I know what
means
you're
nothing
talking
to him.
about.
I know.
I can't say
know
the
Ray
last
Sloane-
name. I can't
I
say the
know-
last name.
I know Ray Sloane from
New Dawn.
A New Dawn.
Yep.
Yep.
But I don't know anything else about. I know I do know that she was like the main person in the Empire, which wouldn't Cyanari, was she a Grand Moff at the end of Lost
No,
Stars?
she was a.
No.
She was a Moff,
She was a.
Grand Admiral.
She was a commander. She was upgraded commander because remember they were like, "Oh, you shouldn't." be
Because she's like,
upgraded."
I don't deserve this.
Yes.
Because she knew she didn't deserve it, but I wasn't sure exactly how high she went.
She went to commander. She went
Okay.
her ranks.
Because she was that. Because she had her own.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Now that
You
I
guys
think
seen
about
Resistance?
I've watched a little bit.
I've
I haven't
watched,
watched
the,
it.
like first 5 episodes. It's better than what I thought.
Kieran swears by it.
Kieran's a
He loves that
Resistance
show.
fan.
So
Yeah,
I've been meaning to get into it. Element really likes it as well.
Yeah, I've heard from Element.
Choco does too.
But you should just
Yep.
skip
Choco
the,
really
or
likes
not
it.
the first 6 episodes. The first 6 episodes are like a drag, but once you get past the 6 episodes, it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the first 2 seasons of Clone Wars.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think I've seen only the first 6 episodes of Resistance. I really like it.
Well.
'Cause it's different. It's different. What's his name? Kaz.
Kaza, I don't even know how to say his name, but
Yeah.
he's from Hazi and Prime. Yeah.
Yeah, and like someone from Hosnian Prime, like I really want to see how that affects him.
And also speaking of Hosnian Prime, that's brought up in Bloodline.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I've heard some stuff about Bloodline. Isn't the one lady who it zooms in on her face? She's like a big league, right? And I think there are definitely
confirm
some.
nor deny that.
Okay, but I think there definitely are some criticisms about the sequels that are totally valid. Like personally, I think we should have seen more of the galaxy at peace maybe in the first act of the movie to then kind of build up instead of maybe just jumping right into First Order. But they do it in a book anyway, but I think it would have been cool to maybe get an introduction, maybe like a 2-minute conversation with whoever that lady is and Leia to kind of set up who they are.
That was a deleted scene.
Yes, it was. Leia sends her off
Is
to
it
Hosnian
really?
Prime. She goes, "You guys
Yep.
talk to the New Republic about the First Order and the Resistance."
Yep.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's something that should have been clarified a little bit more. But I mean, that's kind of all small stuff. But it's still all great. I mean,
have any of you read Rise of Resistance?
Resistance Reborn.
Or
Resistance
Resistance
Reborn.
Reborn.
I haven't.
no, but it's on
Good.
my
Good
next.
book. Good book. You get to go to a Clone Wars planet. You get to see the relationships between Finn, Poe, Rose,
Lando.
no, not Lando, because Lando doesn't show up in that. Chewbacca, Leia. There is a Clone Wars character that makes it in there as well. That's a very underrated one. I finished that last Christmas, driving all the way down
Resistance
to.
Reborn? Isn't that like them going around the galaxy recruiting?
It's
people?
after.
Which
It's
book
after.
is
It's
that?
after. It's after Last Jedi. So yeah,
Okay.
it's that one. It's
So they're
in
like going
the
around
It's
recruiting everyone.
it's the Journey to the Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
Okay. So is that right? Like they're going to
They're trying to recruit.
the whole
Rebel leaders. Yes. It's all about the message. Remember, because Leia goes in Battle Crate, she's like, "We've lost. The galaxy's made their decision." That answers that question of why they didn't answer the call.
Yep.
Huh.
I would also say Phasma. I keep saying Phasma, but those two books are really good because it takes you through Phasma's origin, and you also see Brendel Hux is like a main character in that, and you see like where Phasma came from. The planet she came from and like her culture is like they're almost in like the Stone Age. They like have no technology, and she's almost like it's just like a barbaric warrior culture. And you see her kind of like the way that she thinks and why she does what she does in the sequel trilogy come to fruition. And then you also meet Captain Cardinal, who is like the red, it's like Phasma but like the red armor.
He's actually in Resistance.
Yeah. So we see you meet him and like Vi Maradi there's just like a great story there, and it takes you through like it takes you like past maybe Last Jedi. I think it takes place after Last Jedi, I think too.
Okay.
The second book takes place after Last Jedi. But it's a really good story that I recommend to everybody. It was like surprisingly good.
Huh. Like a sneaky good story.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's the way you're describing it, Connor, is kind of like the exact like Tarkin.
Yeah.
Because Tarkin, you get the flashbacks and you get like start to understand who Tarkin is as a character, and that's how I feel like when you were describing that. I was like, so it's like the sequel. It's the sequel version of Captain Phasma, which makes sense because Tarkin and Phasma are very much like the same.
Yeah.
Like in the same situation. We don't know much about either of them.
Yeah.
And we need external media to add on to those great characters.
Yeah, so basically like how the story is told is like someone's like captured and then they have to tell a story, and it's like a flashback. Like someone's telling somebody the story, and it takes you through all Phasma's backstory.
Kind of
and
like
then-
Tempest Runner, because I remember reading the first,
Yeah.
the first 2 parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
similar to that.
Huh. Yeah, Tempest Runner's great. Guys need to read it. Is there anything else sequel trilogy wise? Oh, we can catch up on comments real quick, actually.
Yeah, we've been kinda behind.
Real quick.
Elements that suit up in your armor.
It's the suit up in literary armor before you read Fallen Star. I
Yeah.
hope that doesn't mean it's like
Oh,
a super hard
God.
read,
No,
though.
he's
Oh,
responding to
God.
Scholar, because Scholar said he doesn't read Rising Storm.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna need to
Oh
be
my god.
read let's see. Instead of hinting Pelagus, it hints that Palpatine cheats death. Star Wars lawyer says he was mentioned Aftermath, Empire's End, Element. You've seen 5 episodes, but it ramps up at 6. Tell me why someone is trying to tell me the story of Darth Plagueis about being Palps being Anakin's dad. Oh, I'm so sorry, Brooke.
That's funny.
I've heard that from
Yeah.
YouTube. I remember hearing that years ago and being like, what the
No.
hell? Yeah, obviously, I was like,
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was real. I was like, oh wow.
It is.
Okay.
It is weird. I understand why some. Well, not about the dad, but like the whole thing with like Palpatine and Plagueis.
Manipulating it, kind of.
In the Plagueis book, that kind of is what it hints at. Is like
Yes.
they were trying to do stuff like, and the Force like balanced itself out, but that's not
Yes.
canon.
No.
Yeah.
No. The Force
Um,
wields as it wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, not to go back to the prequels, but the part I just read of Master and Apprentice, and Rail asks him, and he's like, so if you really believe in these prophecies, why does it matter whether we're on the light side or the dark side? And Qui-Gon's like, because the light is the light.
Is the light. Yep.
yes. What?
God, that's a
You're like-
great quote.
S tier.
That is a
scene.
great Qui-Gon.
Is that what it is?
Like,
When I put it on my
oh.
Snapchat story, on my Star Wars Snapchat story, let me
my
read it.
goodness.
He says,
No, but you can hear Liam Neeson say it too, though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, let me see. Okay, 259. Hold on, I need to find this real quick.
He said we serve the light because it is the light.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
The
God.
prophecies in that book is so good, and then like
That is my
Qui-Gon's
favorite
obsession
part.
with it, and
Yeah.
how
It is.
Dooku
Okay,
and that kind of stuff.
So,
Claudia Gray can do no wrong.
so here's like the paragraph.
Except if she kills Burry, then we will have an issue.
Yeah.
and then
yeah.
traumatized Bells
So-
for the 60th time.
So Rail says, let's say I do, Rail answered. Let's say I believe that someday there's going to be some perfect balance in the Force, thanks to some kind of chosen one. Did you ever really think about what that would mean, Qui-Gon? It would mean that the darkness would be just as strong as the light, so it doesn't matter what we do, because in the end, hey, it's the tie. It doesn't matter which side we choose. Qui-Gon straightened and deactivated his blade. Rail took a step back, lowering his lightsaber but keeping it on. It matters, Qui-Gon said quietly. It matters which side we choose, even if there will never be more light than darkness, even if there can be no more joy in the galaxy than there is pain. For every action we undertake, for every word we speak, for every life we touch, it matters. I don't turn toward the light because it means someday I'll win some sort of cosmic game. I turn to the light because it is the light.
Oh.
That is
Yeah.
such a
Oh.
good, like, and you can just hear Liam Neeson say it in his Scottish accent. It's not because it's because of the light. Oh,
Oh,
good.
That scene is
I
so
turn to the light because it is the
good.
light.
Oh man,
It's such a great
Man.
scene.
it is so good.
And it's
so good.
and it's like whenever, if anyone ever tries to say like, well, that doesn't really matter, be like, no,
You just
does.
take Master and Apprentice and just chuck it at him.
because Liam's like,
Yep.
or not Liam, Qui-Gon's just like, well, every life we touch matters.
Liam Neeson is Qui-Gon at this point, guys.
Liam
But
Yeah.
but man, like just chills from that page.
Oh yeah,
So good.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Trying to think, anything else you guys want to really touch
Whoa.
on?
Brooke
Maybe.
mentioned it.
Oh, sorry, go
earlier. Leia, Princess of Alderaan. Obviously, I haven't read it.
Yes. Oh,
Haven't read it.
Haven't
Another
read
banger
that
of a
yet.
book. Oh, another banger of a book. Oh, Leia just. Oh, that book. Claudia, like I said, Claudia Gray can do no wrong.
Yeah, I've been slacking on Star Wars books because I've been reading the Avatar Kyoshi novels.
Okay,
If you guys are into Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Oh,
I've been reading those.
nice.
that's awesome.
Yeah. But oh, what was I gonna say? Is that what is that book about?
Princess Leia of Alderaan?
It's Leia.
Is it
between
young
3 and
Leia?
4. Yes, it's Leia.
Yeah, it's very young Leia.
Ooh.
Well, not very young Leia.
It was.
It's like. No, yeah, go
Like
ahead. Harry.
Fenry.
Yeah, it was a Journey to the Last Jedi book. It's all about Leia prior to the rebellion when Bail Organa is throwing parties for the Empire, but in secret are having meetings of the rebellion.
Ooh.
So
So kind of like in Lost
freaking-
Stars
Yeah.
when she shows up to that.
Yeah.
so freaking good. So good.
Is she kind of like, remember Fenry in Master and Apprentice?
Yes.
So kind of like her age?
Sort of.
Pygel's princess.
I remember if I
Who-
placed it right. I
think she was like 13.
I have
Yeah, that's how. Okay, that's what like Fenry is.
I have the
then.
Canon media timeline on Wikipedia open every single day, and that's how I have my books organized. I put them in the chronological order. Leia, Princess of Alderaan, I believe, takes place because I have Thrawn Alliances and Trees, but I have it split up between the YA
Mhm.
books. It's right between Thrawn Alliances and Thrawn Trees, and that little couple year gap.
Yeah,
around
because
that
it
period.
happens. It happens just before season 2. Her, she's around the same age that she is. Well, no, it happens before season 2.
Season
It
two
happens
of
before
Rebels.
of Rebels.
Okay.
Before she shows up.
Okay, I was just gonna say before she shows up.
Yeah, she's that age. So what's that? 5 years before New Hope.
A New Hope, yeah.
So she's 19. So she's 14. She's 14 in that.
Okay.
Okay.
Really good book, guys. I tell you what, Connor, you will love this because it's so similar to Bloodline.
Yeah.
And
I have to add that to the
I
list.
don't know what scene it is, but I heard it in a review for Leia, Princess of Alderaan. There's a scene that Ryan Johnson specifically requested to get put in this book.
Oh yes.
I don't want spoilers. I don't want spoilers.
So good.
Because obviously the Journey to the Last
So
Jedi book.
good.
Is it with Haldo?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Say no more. Say no more. Say no more.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Uh-huh.
Connor, is there something else you wanted to mention? Because
Oh yeah, I was gonna talk. I guess this technically isn't canon, but like the Ninth Jedi, like post sequel stuff.
Oh.
I thought that was such a cool concept where like
from
from Star Wars Visions.
Vision.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've gotten into anime in the past like year and a half, and
nice.
it was such a cool thing to see like post sequels stuff like hundreds of years in the future where like it was kind of sad that like the Jedi were like basically dead. It seems like they're
Again?
almost just like dead again, but it was cool to see. I mean, technically like everything kind of checks off in canon, even with like the lightsaber color changing, because they're like, oh, I like tinkered with the kyber crystals to make them change
Susceptible to the
yeah, to
blueprint.
like exactly. So I thought that was like a super cool concept, and it was probably the biggest twist that we got in all of Visions.
Yeah. I remember Ricardo and I's reaction to the moment. We were like,
oh yeah, we were like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that moment, like that episode of Visions was by far the best. Just because I'm pretty sure they came out and said like, hey, like there's possibilities with some of these episodes that we can make them into shows. And if you give me more of Ninth Jedi,
oh,
I'm in. Because that
Yeah.
story, those characters were so good. They were written so well.
It's
Nice
hard to do
job
with a
bringing
short
that up.
story like that.
It is. Absolutely. When you only have, well, how long was the episode? 20 minutes?
12 minutes.
Yeah, all
15
the
minutes,
episodes were like
60
top
minutes.
20, like at the
Tops
most like
20,
20
yeah.
something minutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was the
So
longest
it's a
episode
lot to put in.
of the entire season, I believe. It was like 22 minutes.
Man, yeah. Yeah.
I remember my immediate thought, and like it still is the Ninth Jedi feels, to me, it felt like High Republic, but post sequel era.
It did.
Because the way that the Jedi were dressing, their cool lightsaber hilts, it really felt like High Republic. But obviously they were Jedi, and it's post sequel era. But I guess you could say like the tone of the episode really felt like the High Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Um,
Luke, is there anything else you want to bring up before we wrap up?
I mean, if we're looking towards future projects,
Does that count?
yeah,
I mean Kenobi.
Broken Radar
'Cause-
Luke with Kenobi.
yeah.
Dude,
You'll-
I there's so many things in canon that I want to see. Like, there's so many lines from canon. Obi-Wan once thought as you do in Return of the Jedi. A presence that I haven't felt since. Like, all of these lines said by Vader, and it's very vague. We don't know if he was really talking about Mustafar. There's a whole lot of possibilities in canon that Obi-Wan could have been on seen the Death Star again, because he says that's no moon, that's a space station. How's he supposed to know what that was?
No one knows about the Death Star. No
Exactly.
one knows about the Death Star.
Exactly.
Which
That's
is something that you not to interrupt you, but real
No.
quick, I heard someone say that the Star Wars books add nothing to it. I was like, I literally I commented. I said, I don't know which books you're reading, but every single one I read did a lot of stuff to
Yeah.
each of the movies and shows. And I think one thing that's really stressed in a lot of canon books is there are two people who know, besides people obviously who are working on the Death Star, but there are two people who don't know or who know about the Death Star. Tarkin, three. Tarkin, Vader, obviously, Palpatine,
And Krennic.
and Thrawn.
Krennic.
Krennic.
Like there's
There's
very
there's a
few
handful.
people.
There's a handful.
There's
There
only
you
a
go.
handful of people who knew. And does Thrawn figure out about it in
Treason.
Okay, I don't want to spoil it then, because it's one of the best parts of Treason.
But Krennic,
Um,
Tarkin,
Connor's like, all right, well.
Vader are the three that
Yeah.
are in it. that
but
figure out the most.
it really does, and like that's something that the canon books does a great
Yeah.
job of really stressing that point.
Absolutely.
Even in a New Dawn, they're like, where's all this material going?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where is it going?
Mhm.
That's-
Well, and also Catalyst
I've-
Catalyst
Yeah, I have not
gives
read that
you
one.
gives you the blueprint on everything that happens with the Death Star in its
Yeah.
early beginnings, from where we see it in Episode 3 to where it eventually is in Rogue One and in A New Hope. So I'm with you. Like the
Yeah,
books
and there.
add a ton of
Yes.
layers to these movies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
and there's a lot of mines in the books. Like there's a lot of just like factories and mines and exporting
Mhm.
goods and like price mining. It's a really, really cool backstory, and like
Yeah.
that price mining is funding some of this stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
really, really neat, and seeing like that we have down to the mines of the Death Star.
Yup.
We know where that metal is being exported from. We know the stories behind the directors, Count Vidian, and all these different people, and how this is all coming into play in the original trilogy. It's just fascinating that we know every layer.
Well, think about this, Carter. Attack of the Clones. Who was
Yeah.
creating the Death Star? It was the Separatists.
Yeah.
They were the originators of the Death Star, and that gets brought up in Catalyst.
Because remember, it goes the Separatists to the Geonosians
It-
to Galen Erso to
To,
Krennic.
Tarkin.
Yeah.
So Tarkin in the Tarkin novel, early on, like they have flashbacks where he's like newly into like the
Mhm.
space fleet at that time for the Republic, and he has a conversation with Palpatine, and it's the conversation that Tarkin mentions to Krennic in Rogue One.
Oh.
I will be taking back the battle station that I had talked to the Emperor so long ago, effective immediately, and then the whole these books will add so much to a movie that it'll make your head spin.
Yeah.
But it's not necessary.
No,
Yeah.
That's the
it's
thing.
not,
No.
but it gives some weight to some of these stories.
Right.
Sometimes
I
I
love
think it is. Like, there are definitely some necessary things. Sometimes, like, Palpatine's return being hinted and all that stuff is kind of necessary. But, no. Like we know who picks up Vader after he gets shot down in New Hope. That is the coolest freaking thing
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
We know who picks him up. Like,
We know how Vader finds out Luke's his son. Like
Yeah.
it's all this extra material. Like if you're willing to give it a chance,
Or,
do it.
Or in
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back when Vader's like, the Emperor has foreseen this. It is your destiny, Luke. That's in Empire Strikes Back from a certain point of view.
All right. We can't ruin that for Connor because that's gonna be just the way that pops out in the
Yeah.
audiobook and on the page
Mm-hmm.
will give you chills.
oh, jeez.
I'm giving myself chills.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's a really good way to let's wrap it up here. Like, we just hyped up Canon so much. Like, holy moly.
It's all
but-
connected.
yeah.
It's like the
So
Marvel Cinematic Universe, but on steroids.
In the great
Yeah.
circle of life.
yeah.
Ah, nobody caught
So-
that. It's all connected. He said it's all connected,
Oh,
and
in
then
the
I said
circle of life.
in the great circle of life.
Man.
Y'all Disney
But-
kids.
Cue the Lion King.
What?
My
I was
God.
a giant Disney kid. What are you talking
Well, why
about?
didn't you get that reference?
I
Oh,
did
wait.
get it, but it.
Oh wait, you were born.
wasn't-
You were born in the early 2000s. Come on.
Okay, Luke, when was the Lion King released?
The year before I was born,
Oh,
1994.
so you weren't born either.
Yeah, but I watched it.
So did I.
Come on, kid.
Okay. Anyway, to finish everything out, let's kind of go around. Once again, who are you? Where can we find you? And if you had to recommend one canon book for someone if someone who hasn't read anything, what would you recommend them? And let's go to Connor first.
All right. Okay. So once again, guys, thank you so much for having me. This was an absolute blast. Where you can find me is Jedi.Connor on TikTok and YouTube. That's where I'm putting all my focus right now. And if I were to recommend one book, I don't think it would be Light of the Jedi because, like you said, it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say Lost Stars would be my number one. Just because it's really familiar to people. If you've seen the movie, it takes you through the events of the original trilogy, and it's just a great story. Even it's a great romantic story, and the characters are really interesting in it. And it's really encapsulating. Although it is a little long, it's 550, but
Yeah, it's worth
that's
it.
where I would start.
Very great book.
No, awesome. Yeah, Connor, thank you so much for joining us, and we'd love to have you back. This was such a great time.
Of course.
And Luke, same thing to you.
When I'm not making references to Carter that he doesn't pick up on the first try, you can find me at the Pod Once podcast on TikTok, at Pod Once on Twitter, on Instagram it's Pod Once Pod. Again, doing watch-alongs. If you guys want to stay up, watch it with us. You more than can. We're gonna have discussion after.
Did his audio cut out for anyone else?
Yep,
Yes.
Luke, your audio cut out.
Yeah, my headset's been doing some weird.
Oh,
things.
there you go. You're back.
Oh, we're towards the end anyway. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, so you guys can find us on YouTube at the Ones Podcast, doing watch-alongs, recaps, roundtables. The podcast is on Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going through the entire Clone Wars series. We're starting season 3 this week, so I mean, where the fun begins. Season 3 is where it gets going. So if you guys want to check us out on there, we'd be honored if you would join us. And one canon book, that's so hard. It's so hard.
You only get one.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to choose one, after thinking about it would probably be Bloodline.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
just because you get to see a lot of things happen. There are mentions to the original trilogy. It does build the sequel trilogy quite a bit, and I feel like if you have issues with the sequel trilogy, you need to read that book.
Okay.
But that's just me.
No, yeah, that's great. Again, Luke, thank you for joining us again. We really appreciate it. And once again, everyone, we are going to be, They Fly Now and Pods One Podcast are going to be doing roundtable discussions every Friday talking about the Book of Boba Fett. So that's going to be a great time. It's a lot more of a casual stream, just kind of having a great time talking about Star Wars. So we really hope you guys we can see there. And then I know on They Fly Now, we're going to start uploading another time a week, like another video of me and Hereth just kind of talking about whatever's kind of irrelevant or whatever. We're going to start focusing more on YouTube now that Star Wars content creation is really starting to get built back up again with Boba Fett. I know I really feel like Book of Boba Fett is going to kind of kick us off into this marathon, which is all these new Star Wars shows and books getting released. So we're going to start doing that. And yeah, thank you guys both for joining us. Hereth, you want to shout some people out in the chat real quick?
Well, of course. We got Xanatos 1138. You got Kieran Barr, St. Pat, Master Yara or Scholar. You got Element 7. You got B_Dazzler. Shout out to the Farm Factory. If you're not buying stuff from there, what are you doing? Star Wars Lawyer Chris.
Ace Bronx. You say St. Pat, Georgie Jedi, Aiden Talk Star Wars Topics, Kieran Barr.
Yeah, everybody.
And I think we got there. I think there were a few more earlier, but Darth Man was also in.
Oh, Darth Man, Brian with the beard, Brian with the red beard, Brian with the beard. Shout out to the Age of the Force. That's your joke element. Sorry if you're here.
But yeah, thank you guys all for joining us. I really appreciate it. Hopefully our hearts don't get broken too much tomorrow, but yeah. May the Force be with you guys.
Always.